right. I call to order the regular council meeting for Township of Medford, March 17, 2026. This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, law. This meeting of March 17, 2026 was included in a meeting notice sent to the Burlington County Times and the Central Record on January 7, 2026, and advertised in said newspapers on January 11, 2026, and January 15, 2026, respectively, posted on the website and the bulletin board in the municipal building on January 7, 2026, and has remained continuously posted as required under statute. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public as on file with the Office of the Municipal Clerk. Please rise for the flags. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Roll call, please.
Ms. Santamore?
Here.
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Ms. Mill?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Voorhees?
Here.
Mayor Sizik?
Here. Okay. At this time, I will be deviating from the posted agenda. I am making a motion to add a resolution for executive session. I will be looking for a second.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I will now be making a motion to move into executive session.
So moved. Second.
The purpose of the executive session is contractual negotiations
Yeah.
and attorney-client privilege matters.
For this, I'll need a roll call.
Ms. Santamore?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Mill?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Voorhees?
Aye.
Mayor Sizik?
Aye. Okay. At this time, we'll be moving into executive session for a short period of time. Mr. Murdocken, any other
I
comments?
only anticipate being done shortly, and it will be only matters that are subject to executive session, and we will be assured when we come back, we'll be able to advise what we can.
Thank you. Okay. I am reconvening the open portion of the public meeting. We discussed the matters pursuant to the executive session. And at this time, we are not taking action on the matters discussed within the executive session. However, I'd like to entertain a motion to amend the agenda to add a second resolution titled Preliminary Resolution for Removal of the Township Manager and Suspending him from his duties pursuant to NJSA 40-69A-93. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. This time, the resolution has been added. I would like now to, I will make a motion to, excuse me, Mr. Ducken, I apologize.
There would be a motion to adopt if that's the council's pleasure.
I would like to make a motion to adopt the resolution as stated.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Ms. Wicker, roll call, please.
Mrs. Santamore?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Ms. Mill?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Voorhees?
Aye.
Mayor Sizik?
Aye. Mr. McDucken?
Yes, sir.
We are past that point.
That point's over, and
Yeah.
now you can move on with the rest of your agenda.
At this point, we will continue with the posted agenda to tonight's meeting. At this point, we have a special presentation from Mr. Paul Chenier.
Mayor, also council. As a veteran, I want to say this before I actually forget it. Thank you for what you guys do for the veterans. Freedom Park, I think, is a showcase. But a couple months ago, I heard that Medford was in the process of setting up a Hall of Honor for the veterans of Medford. And as a veteran, and this comes from my heart, thank you. Long overdue. Medford has shown that it cares about our veterans, really does. So I reached out to Angela, who I believe is involved with this, let's call it project, and asked her if I could do a couple carvings for the township. Obviously, she not jumped with joy, but said absolutely. So I'm here to give them to you. If I can get it out of the bag. This is one. And hopefully you guys
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
hear them all.
Would you be able to just turn around and show the
Yeah.
camera so the folks at home can see?
And the other one. Is our flag with the 6 emblems of the 6 various services.
It's beautiful.
And again, veterans. I have one more, and I understand and realize that the employees are not allowed to accept gifts, and I'm all for that. So I'm going to donate this to the township with the understanding it's going to go on Angela's desk for her to kind of guard it, whatever. It's just a little tray where she and anybody can put their keys, business cards, pens, pencils, whatever the case is, just to thank her for what she is doing for our veterans. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
sir.
I think we all deserve a round of applause.
Sir, on behalf of council, not only tonight, but all the things that you've done for our town and our veterans, we want to thank you all for everything you do. Thank you, sir. At this point, and I apologize, sir, before we move forward, the Hall of Honor, would you be able just to give folks a quick synopsis of the Hall of Honor?
I don't know that much about it.
Okay, well, I'll help fill in some blanks here.
With similar projects in Voorhees and over in Lawnside, basically, I believe, and anybody stop me if I'm wrong here, the township's going to put pictures of residents that are or were former, veterans, and we'll have a short bio under each. If you walk into the Evesham Town Hall, you'll see what they have done. Every wall is lined with pictures of veterans, and it's something that, at least here in town, I'm sure Evesham, Voorhees, and also Lawnside is the same way. Something the veterans will never forget, and their memories will be there for their families and future generations. It's a great thing.
It's
it really
phenomenal. Yeah, and there's artwork currently being displayed.
is. I believe, again, I don't know that much about it.
And it will be an evolving process, and this
Correct.
is just one key part to it. But yeah,
Yeah.
the veterans, their families, their pictures, things of that nature will Angela's really, I don't want to use the word decorating, that might not sound right, but really showcasing the veterans
Correct.
in our town hall.
And again, Medford, and, I'm trying to get down. Medford has done a phenomenal job of honoring veterans. And anybody that wants to disagree, stop by Freedom Park. And I urge you to stop there as the sun is going down. I've been there many times, and I'll stand in front of all of the monuments, and I have tears. It's just, it hits you like a brick. It really does. But thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody in Medford.
Thank you, sir. Moving on, we will go into our communications section. I have a few items. Would anyone like to add to communications? No? Okay. We received notice on March 16th of a temporary bridge closure, Bridge D4.56 on Church Road between Fostertown and Lakeside Drive. This was sent to us by the Burlington County Engineer's Office. So basically for a 3-week period, let's all cross our fingers, they will be doing work on that Church Road bridge that has been brought up during some of the discussions at this meeting, but that we received that information from the county. This Thursday, 3/19 is our first food truck night of the year. Hopefully the weather is nice. Who knows these days what the weather's going to be, but we're hoping for a good first food truck night. The Easter egg hunt is being held next Saturday, the 28th at Freedom Park. And so this one is somewhat of a spoiler alert, but I was told that it was okay now to at least make mention of it. Medford will be receiving its own Medford mural on this side of Union Avenue. They're doing some work on the building now to prep the wall. Think of like the Asbury Park mural. There's a Yardley mural. I'm forgetting which other murals are out there, but it's an iconic piece that I think will really put Medford on the map when it comes to opportunities to showcase our
What do
town.
we thank for that?
Oh, great question. Yeah. So there's a very special family that has done a lot for Medford, the Silk family, both Tristan and Gabriella and their children. They spent a lot of time in Medford. They've made a large investment in Medford, and they continue to do so. It's not only their efforts, but they've been working with Angela at the Township, as Paul has mentioned her prior, and Tony Napoli is the artist. And he takes students...
Well, tell them. 'Cause
Yeah, so he takes students in art majors and works with them to craft the mural, design certain things. He's gotten input from Angela on the design fact. I don't want to kind of give it away because it's still in a rough draft form, but it's going to be very beautiful.
Yeah.
They're working very hard on it. But the Silk family is they've really made a large personal investment in Medford, and this I think is a great way to showcase the town, especially the village. Okay. Oh, and so you'll be seeing prep work done on Union Ave over the next few weeks. We're hoping to have it done by the Memorial Day Parade, which is a phenomenal event. I know the veterans enjoy it, but that'll be unveiled as like a grand unveiling on Memorial Day. And then the last one is youth sports are gearing up for their spring season. There's a lot of opening day events coming up these next few weekends, so everybody's involved in that. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, just one quick question. I'm excited about the mural. I'm looking forward to that completion. But I'm just wondering if there's anything that we need to look at zoning-wise for the mural. Because I think, as we all recall, there was another issue with the mural in the past.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that everything is cleared zoning-wise.
Yep, they made sure that there was no advertisements
Right.
of any sorts within, and there's iconic scenes within Medford, but there's no particular businesses that are highlighted within this. But yeah, that was definitely a concern
Thank you.
of ours.
Just want to
yes.
make sure. Thank you.
So next we have scheduling items. Currently listed on the agenda is a March 21st, 2026 special budget meeting to be held here. At this moment, I'm going to ask that we postpone that meeting of all budgets until further notice. So the next meeting we will have is April 14th, 2026, regular council meeting at the Public Safety Building at 6:30. And we also have an April 23rd town hall meeting at the Public Safety Building at 6:30. That was originally scheduled for the 21st. It has been moved to Thursday, the 23rd. Okay, we are moving on to approval of minutes. We have a February 17th, 2026 council meeting minutes and a March 3rd, 2026 executive session minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So there is not a discussion item listed, but we did ask Mr. Taylor from Taylor Design to go over the presentation for redevelopment, and I'd like to ask Mr. Taylor to do that at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of council.
I'm going to have to slide out of the way.
To this, we're going to show some bigger pictures, not one the suggestion in the last year, use the projector, so we're going to try to get those as exhibits up.
we're gonna get the lights.
And it does take a minute to warm up. It will,
Okay.
it will brighten up a bit. I told you I'd speak up and I didn't. I apologize. So we'll do a little bit by way of background. As we all know, March 20th, 2024, Governor Murphy signed in significant changes to the Fair Housing Act in New Jersey, and he directed DCA to assign each municipality its, I don't know if it's me or not, to assign.
Let me turn it on. That works better. Directed DCA to assign each municipality its fourth round affordable housing obligation. That, again, was March 20 of 2024. Subsequent to that, Medford Township went through and prepared a housing element and fair share plan. That plan, prepared by Environmental Resolutions, was adopted on June 17, 2025. That identified 3 sites to meet the town's prospective fourth round need of 171 affordable housing credits. That plan, that housing element, was amended in December 18th after the Lafferty Farm was no longer considered to be available because of some contractual issues between the landowner and a prospective purchaser. The town then modified the housing element and introduced a third site known as the Rick's Auto Body site. And that was adopted by the planning board in December, again, December 18, 2025. That housing element selected the sites and established the required number of affordable units to be constructed at each one of the sites, as well as the number of market rate units for each of the sites. The housing element were submitted to and approved by the courts, by the Fair Share Housing Center, and by the special court adjudicator. The next step is, and as the town knows, all municipalities were given a very brief timeline to create the implementing ordinances to facilitate the housing types and densities, because obviously, and particularly, most towns had to modify their zoning to make these accommodations, much like Medford did. It does not necessarily match what Medford had planned for the parcels that we're talking about this evening. And Medford selected to go the redevelopment route. One of the issues, and we discussed this internally, it was our opinion that the redevelopment plan route affords greater control over the quality and the character of the built environment for any inclusionary development, particularly with respect to architectural design, buffers, amenities, lighting, open space, and the related site improvements. So all 3 of the sites were determined to be areas in need of redevelopment by the planning board. The Trollinger site in particular was actually designated as an area in need of redevelopment in 2017 by Resolution 95-2017. That was a backup third round site, and it was never rezoned because it was not necessary for implementation. The other 2 sites have been more recently designated as areas in need of redevelopment under the New Jersey Local Redevelopment and Housing Law. That gives a municipality the ability to create a redevelopment plan for each one of these sites. The redevelopment plans set up specific permitted uses, the densities, and the housing types, along with all of the bulk standards to implement the inclusionary zoning as set forth in the housing element and fair share plan. I'm going to go through, and I did a very lengthy presentation 2 weeks ago, as council knows, and I will do a somewhat abbreviated version, but show some of the graphics that are included in one of the redevelopment plans. Most of the design requirements are similar through the three plans. Obviously, the concept plans that have been prepared by the developers that were included in the housing element and fair share plan have been modified a bit, and they will likely continue to be modified as we move through this process. A couple things before we get into some of these standards. What we're essentially adopting tonight and is on for ordinance is a modified land development ordinance. It creates the new zoning and bulk standards for the development of these properties. All of these properties will still have to comply with all applicable NJDEP, county, soil erosion, and all other federal, state, and local ordinances to the extent that they are not expressly modified in the redevelopment plans. In addition, so all DEP permits, wetlands restrictions, wetlands buffer restrictions will all need to be complied with. In addition, each one of the prospective redevelopers will be required, as we've talked about procedurally, to be designated as a redeveloper. There will be redevelopment agreements that address phasing and other administrative items. And after all of that, each one of these sites will still have to apply to the planning board for subdivision and or site plan approval consistent with any land development application in the town of Medford and any other municipality as set forth under the municipal land use law. So obviously the three sites are what's known as the Reserve at Iron Bridge or Ricks Redevelopment Area Zoning District, the landings at Kirby's Mill, which was also called EFS previously and referred to as such in the Housing Element and Fair Share Plan, and then the Trollinger Stonebridge redevelopment area. I can actually try to scroll through some of these. There are requirements, as mentioned during the planning board referral, and I think very briefly at council introduction, the concept plans that are currently prepared are not fully engineered. There is still due diligence and environmental analysis and stormwater design and engineering that needs to be done before these projects can actually be submitted for site plan approval and even for permits. As part of that process, some of the roadways may shift, some of the units may shift. All of the setback requirements and buffer requirements must be complied with. Those are absolutes. So the plans that you see in each one of the redevelopment plans are generally what those projects will look like, but the 50-foot perimeter buffers cannot be penetrated by buildings or lots. All of the lighting requirements, landscaping, and other things set forth are absolutes. The other thing that was done for each one of the sites, the permitted uses, it has an absolute requirement for the number of affordable housing units. So we make sure that we remain compliant with our housing element and fair share plan and the consent order. And it allows up to a specific number of market rate units. So if their final engineering, stormwater management design, or any other features come in and the total number of units cannot be fully fit on that site, the applicant would still be, or redeveloper would still be required to provide that minimum number of affordable housing units to keep us compliant. For and in terms of the principal permitted uses by numbers, up to 200 for the Iron Bridge or Ricks redevelopment area. There will be up to 239 townhouse units on fee simple lots. Again, those are for sale family townhouse units. Those are not rentals. On Ricks, there will be 48 affordable rental 3-bedroom stacked townhomes, and those are differentiated on the concept plans.
Excuse me, what does stacked mean? I've had several people ask me about that.
So stacked basically means some townhomes are floor to roof, narrow individual units where one unit is not located above another.
Okay.
A stacked unit is where there would be a ground floor entry and the units can be one above the other.
Okay.
Each one, it's not an apartment arrangement because each one has its own individual door to the outside, but it is a vertical stacking of the units, and it creates a little bit more efficient land use on the sites. For the landings at Kirby's Mill, the permitted uses are up to 158 market rate for sale 3 and 4 bedroom townhouse units on fee simple lots, and 40 affordable rental 3-bedroom stacked townhouses. I will note that the 3 single-family lots previously proposed that are fronting on Church Road at the landings at Kirby's Mill site across Fostertown Road from Kirby's Mill will be preserved as conservation area and maintained by the ultimate HOA for that community. And the permitted uses at the Trollinger Stonebridge site located off of 541 include an inclusionary project of no more than 300 total units consisting of 36 age-restricted twin units on fee simple lots or duplexes. So each one will have its own lot, and those will be for sale senior twins. The townhouse component includes 12 affordable stacked townhouse units that are rental, for which we received a rental bonus in the preparation of the housing element and fair share plan, and then up to 113 market rate townhouse units also on fee simple lots. So each one of those townhomes will have its own individual lot.
Excuse me, could you just explain, I don't know if the public knows what the bonus means.
So I would, for different types of unit types, there
Well,
are
they need to know.
credit bonuses. So I would defer, Mr. Knoll's office prepared the housing element, so maybe he could explain the bonus calculation.
Why don't you continue and I'll
Okay.
follow up.
We need to get the bonus.
Yeah, it's fine, people have asked me, that's,
Okay.
I know the answer.
And then also, lastly, at Trollinger, there is a single-family component that consists of up to 139 market rate for sale single-family homes. So throughout all 3 of the developments,
I apologize. I didn't write it. These are market rate single-family homes
these are market rate fee simple single-family homes
for sale, and the number there?
for sale, and that is up to 139. There are requirements that the unit mix, the bedroom distribution, everything else will have to comply with the UHAC requirements, or the Uniform Housing Affordability Controls requirements, and that's all set forth in the housing element and also the settlement agreement. For Trollinger and Stonebridge, that plan also includes the, let me try to open that. If I can find a pointer, actually, I brought one. So for Trollinger, we have 541 on the left. We have Church Road here. We have the senior twin affordable units in the northwest. We have a single-family component that comes through here, and this is the inclusionary townhouse component with both market rate and affordable townhomes. On the far eastern portion of the site, there is a lot 27, which is about 9/10 of a mile long. The redevelopment plan requires that a 10-foot wide ASHTO compliant regional bike trail will be constructed on that lot, with the ultimate plan for that to connect into the downtown and also north through Lumberton and connecting to Burlington County's Rancocas Creek Greenway Trail system. That lot will be donated either or dedicated to Medford Township or directly to Burlington County at Medford Township's sole discretion, as set forth at the time of site plan approval. There was also a requirement and a request from the township for a sidewalk extension so that folks living in this neighborhood can get down to the intersection to the Wawa Dunkin' Donuts at the intersection of 541 and Church.
Sir,
Yeah, so one of the things that we've done on all of the projects is sidewalks along all street frontages. So there's safe pedestrian connectivity for the walking public and for the residents, and then also creating loop interconnections through the sites. The final locations will be determined based on the final wetlands delineations, but that's a recurring theme so that people can have an opportunity to do loop walking within their community without necessarily getting out onto some of the roadways.
Are you able to discuss the red section?
We can discuss the red section. There is an area in the northern part of the site where there are some uplands that are not currently being developed as part of the fourth round. And as part of the discussions, the township requested and the prospective redeveloper agreed that that area will be dedicated to the township as a potential future fifth round affordable housing site if determined necessary in the future. I guess since I did that one, I should jump back and I'll talk very briefly. This is the Kirby's Mill site. Obviously, we have the cemetery and Worrell Field and the municipal wastewater treatment plant to the east, Fostertown and Church. You can see lot 27 and the Trollinger parcel is to the west in this location. There are significant freshwater wetlands that impact the site, but we have an inclusionary townhouse community that has recreation amenities through. There are trail connections to the future regional trail along that western boundary. And then, as I mentioned before, the three properties that were identified as future single-family homes fronting on Church Road will be preserved as HOA open space. And just for reference, the Kirby's, boy, that is a blinding green. Kirby's Mill is located in this area, in the bottom right. Similar elements, and I'll go through a couple of the graphics that are included in the plan. There are 50-foot perimeter buffers located along all roadways and all interfaces with existing developments. That includes a 4 to 6 foot high berming as well as significant layered vegetation. And then for the Rick site, so obviously there are two components, and we talked at length about this before. There's a small farm ditch that previously had a 50-foot riparian buffer on either side of that. And I guess for reference, obviously this is Church Road and Ayerstown Road in this location here. The Brookside community is located to the southwest. One of the changes, this previously had a 50-foot riparian zone buffer, and there was a larger buffer to the existing Brookside community in that southwest area. Because of some threatened and endangered species issues, the developers' consultants are in agreement that the DEP will require a 150-foot buffer from that essentially farm ditch because it flows into the Rancocas Creek. So this 300-plus foot swath had to be preserved, which ultimately pushed this development a bit closer than what had previously been anticipated. As we mentioned before, a couple things. We still have the 50-foot perimeter buffers around the entire perimeter of the site. There were also additional height limitations on all of the sites where in the third round, all of the buildings were permitted to be up to 45 feet in height and 3 stories. And for the fourth round, they were limited to 2.5 stories, and that maximum height was reduced from 45 feet down to 39 feet. Again, trying to minimize the visual impacts. We also added a parameter relative to the calculation of building height to avoid a situation where excessive fill was placed on a site and then could have a dramatic net impact. So building height gets calculated from existing grade wherever there is 3 feet or more of fill in a given area. So again, we have a couple of additional parameters. The buildings in the southern southwest portion of the site, and also for the 3 buildings closest to the intersection, have an additional parameter that the top of the foundation of those structures can be no higher than 24 inches above grade, to really try to keep the visual profile of those buildings to an absolute minimum while still meeting the density requirements necessitated by the housing element and fair share plan. As we talked about some of the design standards, we talked a little bit about the perimeter buffers. We actually developed some standards and some graphic symbols with enlargements that are included as requirements in the redevelopment plan. This shows the 50-foot buffer area with these curvilinear berms that will be 4 to 6 feet in height. They will be naturalized with more of a golf course type of a form to reinforce the natural sort of agricultural feel of these areas as opposed to a very geometric form. It will have predominantly evergreen trees planted at 6 to 8 feet in height, and 25% of those trees will be 8 to 10 feet in height to create a complete visual screen. There will also be inclusions of evergreen shrub masses, deciduous shrub masses, shade trees, and also ornamental trees to provide that visual separation that has been a priority as set forth by council and also by the professionals. This is a graphic section that is representative of what that buffer will look like. Illustratively, street trees and plantings adjacent to the sidewalks out on the perimeter roads. This is drawn to scale at that 50-foot buffer width, showing that 4 to 6 foot high earthen berm with maximum side slopes of 3 to 1 with an average of 4 to 1. And then also this is about the distance for many of the units for the setback. So you get a little sense of the human scale and the effectiveness of not only the landscape planning itself, but also the berming. We also put specific requirements in for each one of the communities to provide children's play environments with bike racks, 18 by 18, shade pavilions with grills, picnic tables, benches, play amenities that are fenced in as well. And each one of the affordable townhouse areas, those units do not have rear doors and they don't have an opportunity for patios or decks on the rear of them. So each one of those buildings will include a 14 by 14 sitting shade pavilion with some picnic tables, grills, and benches. So the folks in those buildings have their own relatively private sitting area that if they want to have a small birthday party or other gathering, they can do that within 100 feet of their unit without having to go to the overall main community amenity area.
What was the basis for making those outside structures 14 by 14 versus 18 by 18?
So one was a little bit of prominence and a sense of scale. We wanted to have one that could accommodate little larger groups in the main community area. And then for the ones that are at each one of the buildings, have that be a little smaller and a little more intimate. It'll also help sort of limit the sizes of what can happen there because they are located in somewhat smaller areas. More about hierarchy of use and magnitude. One of the other things that we spent a lot of time, and these are examples that were set forth by the prospective redeveloper. We went to great lengths to try to work on the architecture to get something that was more fitting with the agricultural and rural rustic character of Medford. I think we all probably drive a lot of places and we see a lot of white vinyl shoebox townhouses, and that one of the objectives here was to do something that would blend as much as possible behind the landscape vegetation. We tried to introduce a number of elements to the site, and let me grab my pointer again. Considerable setbacks and modulation of the roof line, the introduction of both shed and gable dormers with louvers and other fenestration in those gable ends. We've got 6/6 windows, as well as more significant window surrounds that will not just be vinyl, but a solid cellular PVC or AZEC trim. You'll see side entry porches to try to minimize the visibility of the number of doors, and that de-emphasizes the density on the site. The additional porches also create more shade and break up the mass of those structures visually. There were pent roof elements introduced over the garages, and then there were also trellis elements introduced over the garages. All the garages will have windows as well as garage door hardware, and they will also not be stark bright white, but they will be an off-white color that complements the rest of the design vocabulary for the buildings. All of the buildings, we have presentations for the fronts, the sides, and the rears. You'll notice fly rafters and roof element extensions on those high visibility sides. Again, not flat rears, but box bay elements that extend up to dormers. Also a lot of board and batten, vertical siding, again, to try to pull together some of that agricultural feel. There will be patios and/or decks included with all units, with small privacy fences located behind each one of those structures. And you can see some of the differences here. The top unit here is a slab on grade condition that will occur in some locations. This bottom unit is a unit with a basement. You can see that the finished floor is raised a couple feet above grade. And then in other areas where the seasonal high water table permits, there will be walkout conditions for those townhouses. This is a similar variation with that has an extended sunroom on the back of that unit. This is a unit that similar elements to the front with the side entry, and we tried to keep the level of detailing similar. This is a 3-bedroom model that actually has a presentation of a single floor on the back side.
Where would that rear be presented in the
Nowhere in particular, but they have flexibility for that to go in a number of different locations throughout the sites. Basically because the others are a 4-bedroom model, this is a 3-bedroom model, so based on marketing. So that's, this is the affordable unit. So you can see that we employed the same level of detailing and pushed the developer to introduce significant detailing in the form of the shed dormers, the gable ends, the fenestration, roof, window, siding materials, changes in colors as well. And that is for the Olivia and the backs. The redevelopment plan requires that the rears and sides be similarly treated as the front facades. There are significant site design standards listed. Everything must comply with the New Jersey Barrier-Free Subcode, as well as the New Jersey Residential Site Improvement Standards, and also with the NJDEP Stormwater Management regulations. All the developments will be required to submit traffic studies, again, as in conjunction with their site plan approval. And there are significant design standards for a variety of the site design elements. We put some graphics in for refuse enclosures, which can be unsightly, and they basically will, all the refuse enclosures will match the materials for the buildings themselves, so it fits in and blends into the overall landscape of the built environment. Also, for the affordable units that don't have garages, we are requiring enclosed, covered bicycle parking for the folks that live in those units. Outside in sort of an animal loafing shed motif, again, to try to draw some of the agricultural character and carry that through to the extent possible. Again, significant building design standards that are also written in that have minimum roof pitch requirements, building facade setback offsets, as well as roof staggering, window requirements, additional standards for townhouses that we talked a little bit about 2 weeks ago, sustainable building practices, a significant landscape ordinance. We talked about some of the buffering requirements for every 100 linear feet of perimeter buffer. There's a requirement that there be 8 evergreen trees, and they'll be 6 to 8 feet and 8 to 10 feet in height, 2 shade trees, 3 ornamental trees, 25 evergreen shrubs, and 15 deciduous shrubs to really create a layered landscape, similar to what you'd see in some of the other communities throughout Medford or even further north in Moorestown on Hartford Road if you drive north out of the community. All of the lighting will be 3,000 degree Kelvin. It will not be a bright bluish white. It's more of a sunset, less impactful color. They will all be full cutoff light fixtures, which means it will not be a floodlight type fixture that creates any off-site glare and minimizes that. There's also a requirement that there be 0 foot candles of light encroaching off of the property line, so there will be no light encroachment onto any of the adjacent properties. And those are all set forth. There are also administrative requirements in each one of the redevelopment plans set forth as required by the local redevelopment and housing law. And that was my attempt at the slightly shorter version.
Takes the fun out of my life.
All right. Mr. Taylor, thank you very much again for that presentation. As we've stated at all the meetings, but particularly the 3-3 council meeting, the presentation there was excellent, not required, but excellent. The planning board presentation just as well, and then this as well, I think answered some of the general questions that the public may have. At this time, I will open the floor to our public comment section. As I have stated in the past, it's a privilege that not many people around the world get to do, speak openly to your governing body. Whether you agree or disagree, we're here to listen. I will ask that I'll ask Mr. McGuckin to hold the time for us. We're about 5 minutes with an additional minute if needed.
I just want to say something when you get done.
Before
we open
sure.
it up, that's all.
Okay. So before we open up, I'll turn it over to Mr. Knox.
Okay.
No, I didn't write it down. I was winging it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before we begin public comment portion this evening, as the mayor has stated just earlier tonight, and as he does prior to each meeting, this opportunity is a tremendous opportunity that every resident is afforded in this town. Earlier this afternoon, council was alerted to a situation with a resident where the resident is essentially being harassed for coming here and speaking her mind and giving her guidance to this council. I find that absolutely appalling for anyone to address a resident in that form or fashion. And I find it despicable, even beyond words, that an organization will contact this resident's employer to let this resident's employer know what is being said. So please note from myself, and I believe I can speak for the rest of this council, we welcome your thoughts and your opinions. We want you to come forward. This is an opportunity for this open civic dialogue, and no one, and if you do feel like you are being harassed for any comments that you are making, please feel free to contact us directly. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I would also like to make a motion that we provide Mr. McGuckin with the materials that were provided to us, so that a formal complaint may be lodged with the various state agencies in response to what I believe is the harassment alleged upon our resident.
I have not seen them, but I am all in favor of that.
I've already sent it to Mr. McGuckin.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So at this time, we're opening the public comment section. I did see Mr. Kleinman's hand first, but I'll try to go in order. I apologize if I skip over, but you were definitely number 2. Ms. Holloway, you were number 3. Mr. Kleinman?
Mayor, council, you already said my name, so I guess you know who I am. But for those that don't, my name is Jason Kleinman. I'm an 11-year resident here. And I'm here tonight to put this council on formal notice of what appear to be serious violations of your own appointment policies. Violations that may call into question the legal validity of decisions made by multiple township boards. On January 27th this year, this council passed resolutions 35 through 39, making appointments to the Planning Board, the Zoning Board of Adjustment, the Economic Development Commission, the Environmental Affairs Advisory Committee, and the Green Team Advisory Committee. Your own Citizen Advisory Board application clearly states, and I'm quoting from it, the Township Council policy allows individuals to serve only on one standing board, commission, or committee at a time. When I cross-referenced the membership list across all 5 of these resolutions, I found 11 individuals appointed to more than one standing body simultaneously. Some serve on 2 boards, at least one serves on 3. I want to be clear about why this matters beyond the procedural technicality, and I want to highlight one conflict in particular that I find especially concerning. At least one member sits simultaneously on the Zoning Board and on the Environmental Advisory Committee, whose explicit mission is to advance green initiatives in this township. On its face, that may sound harmless, even admirable, but consider what that means in practice. The Zoning Board has the legal authority to approve or deny variance applications from township residents and businesses. If a member of that board has simultaneous commitment to an advisory body with a specific environmental agenda, what happens when an application comes before them that they personally view as insufficiently green? Do they vote on the merits in the law, or does their parallel role and the values and obligations that come with it influence that decision? Residents and applicants have a fundamental right to a zoning board that rules strictly on legal standards, use, setback, hardship, and the like. They do not have to prove their project meets the ideological or environmental priorities of any advisory committee. Yet when the same person wears both hats, that line becomes dangerously blurred. An applicant may never know whether they were denied based on the law or denied because a board member with a green agenda decided that their project didn't measure up to a standard that has no legal basis in a zoning proceeding. This is not just a conflict of interest, this is a due process concern. The same logic applies to members who simultaneously serve on both the Planning Board and the EDC, where pressure may run in the opposite direction, toward approving projects that should face greater scrutiny. In both cases, residents lose. They lose impartiality, they lose confidence, and they may lose legal decisions that were never made on a fair, neutral basis. For all the reasons I just stated, I'm formally requesting tonight the Council direct the Township Attorney to review all dual appointments identified in Resolutions 35 through 39, assess whether any decisions made by these affected boards are legally compromised, and report back to the public with findings and any necessary corrective action. I have complete documentation of my findings. I'll provide it to anyone the Council designates, And I would also ask that my comments be entered into the official record of this meeting. Beyond that, I just want to say for the record, seeing the Taylor Design present tonight how they're bending over backwards to rezone things for the sole purpose of letting these new communities be built that nobody wants, to let these developers make millions of dollars on the backs of the residents that are here that don't want them, when someone like me can't build a garage in my backyard, it's disgusting. And it's ridiculous, and it needs to stop. You still have the ability to do the right thing. I encourage you to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am?
Hey there, Elizabeth Harris DiUlio. I'm from 39 Bank Street in what I call the Village. So I'm just going to try to get back to summarizing what you presented, and I don't know your name.
Scott Taylor?
Scott Taylor. So, Scott, can I just summarize what I understood you just told us?
Sure.
I believe we're talking about 3 ostensibly new subdivisions.
Correct.
So I'm just calling them 1, 2, and 3 in the order with which you presented them. Can you tell me in just subdivision 1, and I think you were starting to head in this direction, how many homes are we talking about? Townhouses, single-family homes, total at market value are going to be built in number 1?
I will, and I did go through these, but it was...
Yeah, just give me the summary, please.
And if I can we maybe hold her time for 1 second?
Sure.
The one thing I want to clarify, the plans that we're writing now essentially only set up the design standards.
I understand.
All of these numbers and the housing types were already established and approved by the court in 2025.
I'm just trying to get the
So-
numbers.
Understood. So our plan is really trying to set up the design standards so that these units are the least visually impactful as they can be for the community.
So, subdivision 1, how many market value homes are we talking about?
I think that was Rick's.
And if you guys don't mind, if you would start coming closer to your mics
Yeah.
so that we in the public can hear what you're saying, that would be fabulous.
Thank you, ma'am.
239.
So the Iron Bridge...
That's
or-
what you're calling 1?
Iron Bridge or Rick's site has up to 239
Market value?
market rate,
And how many affordable?
48.
Okay, number 2,
That's the Landings at Kirby's Mill,
okay.
otherwise known as EFS. And that has 158 townhouse units,
Market value townhouse.
market rate townhouses, and 40
Okay.
affordable rental townhouse
And
units.
number 3?
Number 3 is the Trollinger Stonebridge site.
Say that again?
Trollinger,
Trollinger?
yes.
Interesting. Okay. Trollinger? Market
And
value?
That, so there are 139 single-family market rate units. There are up to 113 market rate townhouse units.
So we've got the combined market value are the 113 and the 139?
Correct.
Okay, and how many affordable?
There are 12 affordable townhouse units. And there are 36 age-restricted twin.
Age restricted. And not affordable, just age
They
restricted.
are also affordable.
Affordable, age restricted townhomes.
Twins.
Twins. Okay. Now, I'm sure you've already totaled all of that up, right? I don't have to.
I have. They were totaled in the housing element.
Right. So do you happen to know that number?
I don't. have the
Anybody
total
out there have the
somewhere.
number on that? It changes all the time. How convenient. Okay, so bottom line is that's a significant number of homes. Yes? So as I'm sure studies have been done on the impact of the school system, yes?
No, they have not been.
So is that part of the plan to
It
do
is.
an impact
It is.
on our
So-
school system?
So the state, when the governor signed the changes to the Fair Housing Act and directed DCA to assign a fourth-round obligation to the municipalities. The municipalities were told how many affordable units they had to provide. That's the plan that the town did. These concept plans were included in that housing element in 2025. We're doing the zoning right now. In response to questions from council, we put a requirement in all of these redevelopment plans that the redeveloper will be required to submit a fiscal community impact statement. So the municipality.
Which includes impact to the schools. I'm just trying to get down to that.
Which does, absolutely. So we specifically, that was requested. We wrote that in as a requirement.
And that's all going to happen after this gets approved?
No, so that will happen prior to submission to the planning board for site plan approval. So this redevelopment plan, we were required by the court to submit new zoning requirements.
Got all that, and I don't want to take up a lot of
Basically by
time.
today, we've added additional requirements for these design requirements and also for the redeveloper to provide a community fiscal impact analysis for each one
Understood.
of the sites.
And I loved your presentation, lovely graphics, good job. So I'm just trying to keep it short. So I'll total this up later. For me, my personal understanding, impact to the schools is the thing I'm most concerned about. So I can't imagine why we're doing all of this without taking a look at the impact on our school system. It just doesn't make any sense to me. We're spending a lot of money and time on something that just may not be feasible because of the impact to our schools. So, and affordability, are we going to build another middle school? This is a lot of houses with potentially a lot of children. So I just wanted to point that out. I also need to understand clearly, is new construction being driven by the requirement of affordable housing, or is it the other way around? Could we just build the affordable housing units that the state's mandating, or are the builders adding all this new construction in to comply with the affordable housing? Which one is it? Anybody?
That's an easy one, ma'am. The state is allowing the builder to build set-aside numbers that are...
What kind of numbers?
It's called set-aside.
Sanitized?
Set aside.
Set aside, okay.
Right. So if we're required as a municipality to build 171 affordable units,
So why don't we just do that?
there's no mechanism in place for us to do so.
Should we have no money? Did somebody say we have no
Yeah.
money? Okay, so we need to do that to comply, but in order to comply, they're using some kind of mathematical number thing
Yeah.
to figure out affordable needs to be this percentage, which means as a builder, I can build this
They get
many,
to build four
more houses for each.
more market rate homes to offset their cost.
Who came up with that number?
The state of New Jersey, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. All right, so that's enough time. I'm sorry I took that much probably, but in a way I'm not. And that's all I have to say.
And thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
We have one more. And ma'am, just to go back on your comment on the school impact, we on council are greatly affected. Personally, we have children in the school as well. And I don't want to speak for just myself, but I know many members of this board have been at all the school board meetings. We have a former 30-year school board member as well serving on this board. I've met personally with the school superintendent, and we're discussing the impact that these projects could potentially have. In conversations with Mr. Taylor, there's a mathematical equation, tell me if I'm wrong, Rutgers impact study? Yep, that does a decent job of depicting how many school-age students will come from these developments. When that study was done for the third round housing obligation, the numbers were half of what the actual children that entered the schools once they were built. So
That's all great, Mike, but you are taking up additional time, and if it's mine, I don't have to shake it standing up there.
No, you're
answering me after I sat down. I
you
just want to know simple things like, when's the impact study being done? And if you're suggesting it's happening sooner, it sounds like you're working on it.
Yeah.
I respectfully request that you speed it up.
there's
Speed it up.
Okay.
Find the impact
Thank you.
of the schools.
appreciate your comments, ma'am.
I'm sure you do.
Ms. Holloway?
My name is Mary Ann Holloway. I'm going to hand things out to put them on the record.
If you want one for Tara.
Oh, thanks.
I'm respectfully submitting that to be put on the record. I have one other question to ask. There was an approval of minutes. I didn't see the minutes from the last meeting where I presented the outline for the laws and regulations that govern the affordable housing restrictions. When you vote on minutes, they're not on the website for anybody to see prior to you voting on them. It says here you're approving minutes from February 17th. Is it the March 3rd meeting or is it the February 17th meeting?
Forgive me.
Should be February 17th.
February- March
And
3rd executive, February 17th council.
All right, so I had put things on the record before. I just want to make sure before the minutes are approved on that meeting that it would be included. What I just handed you, and I want to make something public. Nobody on this council was on the council or I believe involved back in 2015. What I just handed you was Environmental Resolutions report that specifically lowered all the requirements for Medford in the third round to be able to build a certain amount of affordable housing. This report specifically says that there were such land restrictions and availability of land that they could not meet the requirement, and the requirements were lowered between 40 and 50% at that time. In this report, it specifically says that the maximum amount that the town could handle is 150 units. Those units are built. The land that you are currently zoning and building on for all these units was eliminated from being able to be used back in 2015. This is a legal document that was submitted as part of Fair Share. Fair Share accepted it. Fair Share made it part of the record, and they agreed with you. This is a legal document. I'd like an explanation on how, in the short 10 years, nothing happened to the land. As a matter of fact, it might have gotten more sensitive. How are we sitting here doing a plan on land that's already been eliminated by a legal document prepared by the same engineering firm that is now saying they could build on it? It needs to be answered. It needs to be answered. And this is in Fair Share. They accepted it. I'm going to be filing a formal complaint with Fair Share. I'm going to try to get an answer. I do think that the people on this council are going to take, I'm praying that you're going to take an active action to find the answer and make this stop. There's something very, very wrong. Very wrong. You've got the same engineer, 2 reports, and this can't happen. There's something else that I'd like to go over. The last time I was here, I put into record the legal summary of the rules and laws that govern being able to apply the affordable housing deed restrictions and how they apply to Round 4. I had a conversation that I was promised that if I was able to present the rules and the facts and the laws, that you would work with me and find out how we do and apply the deed restrictions to Round 4. I have now done that.
No.
I have now done that. I spoke with Mr. McGuckin, corrected me at the last meeting and said, no, you can't, because there's a model ordinance up at DCA. In 2024, the Assembly passed a new set of regulations that did away with COA. Part of the COA regulations were dates and times and different things. The specific purpose of the legislation was to allow the preservation of affordable housing deed restrictions and to give the town mechanisms so they weren't letting deed restrictions expire and then building new ones and letting them expire and losing housing, affordable housing stock, which is so important in this area. I spoke with DCA at length. There is no model ordinance. It was pulled months ago. I went through it with them. They tried to fumble around and find something that said that there's some rules and dates and times. They can't find it. So right now, as the outline that I gave you, sir, I'm more than glad to let you talk.
I'm just letting him know, ma'am. My job is to
Yeah,
record
we,
the time.
as
Just letting
council,
him know
we
it's-
agreed to allow an extra minute.
All right.
We're doing so.
So what I'm trying to say to you is, you have two solid reasons to back this off. The other thing I want to say is, all D.R. Horton did in this slideshow that Mr. Taylor presented, if anybody wants to see what it's going to look like, go across from Medport and walk through Medford Walk. They took the architecture and applied it over there, and they're going to change the colors. The parking in there is atrocious, and it's going to be the same thing where you're going. If you want to know what it's going to look like, it's already built. I don't even think they're going to have the cost of architecture because they already have the plans done. I also want to say one other thing, and I hope you're gracious on this. We have a family. I have people in Medford that are going to be homeless shortly, and I'm desperately trying to find them a house. They're going to be living in their car. Senior citizen, late 60s, along with son. I have done everything I can. When they went over to the Willows, the moderate income, the rents are $1,700 to $1,900 a unit. They have to make a minimum amount of money. It's not even affordable. They've been rejected by Section 8 saying that it's a closed system, which has got to be addressed. They went into town hall to get help, and they were turned away. These are people that live in Medford. I'm desperately trying to find this woman and her son a place to live. Affordable housing is so important, and what is happening here is not affordable housing. They don't even have washers and dryers in the units over at the Willows. I'm hoping that if this does go through and there is affordable housing being built, you give these people some dignity. There is none. And that little gazebo, go over and take a look at the Willows. They can't even use it. It's an outside unit. What are they going to do in February? Take their kids out in the snow and have a birthday party? I go into the lobby over there, and I almost had tears. It is not even, there's no humanity in it. I'm saying this graciously. Nobody on this council, I do not believe that this report was brought to your attention or you even knew about it, but now you do. So I'm asking respectfully for something to be done. I gave you two solid legal reasons, and I hope it works. Thank you for your time.
Mary Ann, before you go. Mary Ann? Mary Ann?
I'm sorry.
It's me.
Michelle.
Who did you speak to at DCA? Because I was given very different information.
I spoke with Heather McKaylee.
Heather?
McKaylee, the same person Ray talked to.
Are
And she
you-
did desperately try to find something, and she couldn't. She did say that the model ordinance does not exist. They pulled it months ago. And I hope I didn't just get her in trouble for being honest.
I cannot ask for her name then.
I'm
That's
sorry.
fine. I cannot ask for her specifically. That's fine.
Yeah, no, she was really nice.
Okay.
And she was very helpful. She pointed me to different statutes. She was trying to run me through it. I did where she pointed me to. I did an outline of that too. It's not there. And the purpose of the legislation was to preserve affordable housing stock and be able to apply it to this round. They took out all the requirements.
Because each of the groups I've spoken to have told me otherwise. And that's
Do you know
Project
what?
Freedom, that's DCA.
And Michelle, I agree with you. She tried to start saying that. When I pointed it out to her, she goes, yes, you're right. And then as I spoke to her some more, she went to another section. And she goes, no, that doesn't apply either. So in all fairness, until I started to talk to her in depth, I do believe that she might have thought that the old rules applied, and they don't. So that's all I can say. I don't want to hold up anybody else's time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson is next. Yep.
Yeah, this is a pretty good section. Take a look at it, see if you think it needs to be changed. We can always change it.
Mary Ann took your 5 minutes, sorry.
Zach Wilson, 51 North Main Street. I just wanted to talk a couple numbers real quick. I was keeping tally as the last ones were coming out, and it comes to 785 as the total of all the numbers that were thrown out there. But when I look at the number of affordable units within there that were cited, I'm only coming up with 136, and I thought that our number was 171. And so I just wanted to clarify that, call that out, and see if we could get some information as to why there's the discrepancy there. I've heard murmurings through the crowd about the numbers constantly changing, and I think just acknowledging the fact that we understand that in the final design, numbers may change depending on all of the studies and everything, but that the affordable number will stay the same. But it seems like even that is shifting, and I have a feeling that there's an explanation for it, but I just want to make sure that we're all aware of what that explanation is, because, by my count, that's 35 less than what we're supposed to come up with. So just kind of trying to figure that out. I do have a second part, but if we want to get into that first, I'm happy to hold the rest of my time.
Yeah, we'll hold your time.
Yes, I can answer that. So there's bonus credits that we get, which comes back to your question. So there's 9 criteria that if you meet them, you can get bonus credits. The ones that we're getting are for age-restricted units and family units and rentals. So that adds up, those bonus credits add up to we're actually a little bit more than 171.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, just to clarify that last point, the reason we have bonus credits that equal more than 171 is if there are density problems, we still need to maintain that total 171 number.
Got it. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. Like I said, I'm sure that there was a reason, but as people are trying to maintain a sense of the numbers, I just wanted to make sure we're all aware. And, I just going to I understand that kind of we're at where we're at and that there's very little that's going to change this trajectory. I do think that it would be really helpful for the town to understand, maybe in retrospect as kind of a post-mortem, what is the difference in final cost of these moves between the current plan in action and the ongoing costs that we're going to have to incur for the schools, for the infrastructure, et cetera, with this plan, versus what it would have been to float bonds and completely fund this ourselves, just the 171, along with whatever potential impact there would be to the infrastructure, schools, et cetera, because that impact would be much, much lower than the current plan. And the impact to those individual pieces would be lower. So I think it would be great for us to know, especially as we talk about round 5 already, what should our plan be for the next time? Maybe it is, in fact, self-funding the next round because of how much the final bill is going to be for this plan. Understand there's, again, very little that's going to change no matter how much we are fighting and bringing information to bear. We're set down this course, but we don't always have to be on this course, and it would be great if the next time we can look at the information from the decision from a data-driven standpoint rather than just build. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Wilson, the one I had said 2 weeks ago, I apologize, in reference to round 5, that some people were like, oh, it's way too early. It is definitely not too early. I wish 8 years ago we had been doing what we're going to be doing now. But we will be taking a serious look at round 5.
Thank you. And those discussions, as you've been aware, you've been tied in very closely on these. Someone had mentioned earlier, why don't we just build them ourselves? There's something that every town has called an Affordable Housing Trust Fund. Ours has very low revenues because we don't do a lot of commercial building in our township. Other municipalities allow warehouses, large commercial development. That's been taboo in Medford for a long time. Coupled with hopefully preserving lands to accommodate fifth rounds if needed, and deed restrictions would be our #1 priority right now for fifth round. But smart commercial development to fortify that fund in addition with the land is a direction that I believe members of council are going to try to pursue to allow for the council 8 years from now to have these options that you presented. Thank you. Sir, you had your hand up next.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. My name's Pete Jameson. I live in Medford Chase. I'm here to talk about my concern with the lack of recreational amenities going into the Rick's development on Ayerstown Road. So in Medford Chase and our neighbors in Brookside, we combine for 213 residential units. And we share 2 tennis courts, 2 basketball courts, a large playground, a multi-purpose field, and also a ball field. The Rick's development will be 287 units, so that's 74 more than we have. And they're proposing 1 very small top lot and 3 gazebo structures that we've talked about tonight. I have a concern with so little recreational amenities going into that development and it being so close to our development where we have recreational amenities. And I think that it's inevitable, if the plan stays as it is at Rick's, that the new residents are going to come and use our facilities. And that's going to create a host of problems. First, it's going to overcrowd our facilities. So we're going to more than double the potential users of our recreational amenities when this new development goes in, unless recreation is added. 2, it's going to increase our maintenance and repair costs. I've been on the HOA board at Medford Chase for 10 years, so I know firsthand how expensive it is to maintain our amenities. Last year, we spent over $90,000 on our tennis courts. So with all these additional users coming in, they're going to increase our costs. They're going to require us to replace our equipment sooner, and all those costs are going to be on us, the Medford Chase and Brookside residents. None of these new costs are going to be on the residents moving into the development at Rick's, and I don't think that's fair. Another issue is trespassing, right? So we already deal with that issue. We have our amenities are on private property, and we exclude the public from using them as best we can. But trespassing is already an issue where we live, and it's only going to get worse when you put all of these residents into this new development right behind us with no opportunity for recreation. I think that it's concerning to maybe have a child from this new development on their bike trying to cross Route 70 to get over to Freedom Park to engage in recreational activities because they have nothing where they are growing up. And obviously, we're closer, so we will become Freedom Park for these people. And I don't think it's fair that we have to take that on, especially when right now there's a chance to make some change. I think that Rick should have 2 pickleball courts, 2 basketball courts, and a playground that can serve preschool through grade school children. I have some options that I'd like to present on how we can get that done. First thing that comes to mind is we can redistribute some of the residential units across the 3 developments that Mr. Taylor talked about tonight. So, for example, over in Trollinger, there are single-family units. They could be converted, some of them could be converted to townhomes to increase the number of units, residential units there, and we can transfer some Rick's units to Trollinger in order to create space at Rick's for the residential, or for the construction of the recreation amenities. Another option that I'd like to present is that at Rick's, the developer is going to get the benefit of the 80-20 ratio, right? 80% market rate, 20% they'll build of affordables. But on top of that, at Rick's, they're getting another 47 market rate units. And so we could eliminate those or reduce the number of surplus market rate units at Rick's in order to create space for the construction of the recreation amenities that they need. A final option would be to construct some subsurface groundwater management facilities in order to then build recreation on top. So those are 3 options that I can think of, and I don't do this for a living, but I think that as the plan is currently written, it's going to create a significant negative impact on the surrounding community, and I understand the plan will probably be approved tonight, but I would ask that council please do so with the requirement that these additional recreation amenities that I talked about be added to the Rick's site. Thank you for your time and your consideration. Have a good night.
Thank you, sir.
I do remember his question also from the planning board meeting, that you brought it up there as well. And I believe Mr. Taylor did say that we could take some of those things into consideration or possibly add more recreational sites to that, pending wetlands
And where space permits.
Yeah. Yep. And Mr. Jameson, I want to thank you for your comments, not only here, but at the planning board. We weren't necessarily required to have a public comment section at planning, but you showing up and speaking to recreational uses, it helps us better determine the best use for these parcels. So thank you for that.
And I know, just Mayor, as a follow-up, one of the issues that was addressed was that potential for trespass, and there was discussion of potentially fencing along that. I understand that there was a meeting between some representatives of the HOA and the prospective redeveloper, and there was an understanding and agreement that there would be some fencing. The height, the location, the style was to be determined. So I think adding some language into the redevelopment agreement when it comes time that will be pursued would be appropriate as a placeholder. Along with, I know there was some discussion about trying to find location at least for a half-court basketball court somewhere on the site. So I think those could be added to the redevelopment agreement as placeholders, and then when it moves forward to the site plan application to try to maximize that.
Great. Yep.
Mr. Mayor, just a question, a process question. So with second reading tonight for these ordinances, for this motion, it leaves our hands as of tonight, essentially, until the plans themselves.
For zoning.
For zoning purposes, correct. So if we were to look to amend the plan, what would the process be at that point? Would it go back to the planning board, or would it have to come back to us for additional approval?
For these recreational additions?
Yeah.
Do we delineate between plan and agreement as well?
Yeah, the redevelopment plan allows us then to negotiate a redevelopment agreement. The agreement provides a lot more sum and substance to the redevelopment plan. And during those negotiations, that's the type of thing that can be discussed with the developer, and if we can't agree, we'll see where we're at. But it's hopeful that during the redevelopment agreement negotiations, that's the kind of thing that can be resolved.
And that would come back to council for a review?
Yes, you would have to approve the agreement, that's correct.
Yeah. Yeah, so all these comments are very valuable to us during the redevelopment agreement phase. And if I may, just so the public's aware, once upon a time, there was an organization called NSAC, and it's escaping me what the acronym stands for. Say again?
Neighborhood, I forget the S, but I was on it, the Neighborhood Something Advisory Committee.
Yes, and this was made up of HOA representatives, municipal employees, the police, the fire, the schools were there. This was a way for not only just HOAs, but HOAs similar to yours, sir, that may be facing challenges like this or other challenges, whether it could be challenges, it could be improvements. Deputy Mayor Voorhees and I had the opportunity to attend Headwater Village's civic organization's annual meeting. And there's a gentleman, I'll leave him nameless for now, but I'd like to get you in contact with him. He's a great resource of how to work together. For instance, if you live in the Glen or Brookside or Chase or Headwater, you're all dealing with the same challenges potentially or similar challenges, and working together to come up with solutions. I think there was a lot of value in it back then, and it could be a good tool for us to use moving forward. Thank you. I did see Brian next, and then Mary Lucas, and then ma'am, you would be next.
Brian Carnes, 216 Church Road. Did I hear what Ann Holloway said correctly? There's two different reports on the property. Is that what you guys heard too?
Yes, that's what she said.
Okay. Do we have any questions? I know we have questions about the pickleball courts and stuff, but do we have any questions about two different reports? and some other things she's brought up. It seems kind of strange how we engage. The guy wants a pickleball court. We'll talk to him. She comes up. Did she leave?
I should have behind you.
Back there. She has spent so much time and energy. She's not a dummy. She comes up here, you can hear. She really does care about the community. She's raised some great questions. And you guys might have a little bit of leeway with getting out of a few of these homes. And it seems like it's no. We're going to push this through. And the fact is, it feels like you guys are rushing it, too. Is there a reason why we're rushing this through?
I'm just going to ask, just for
Go for
your
it.
sake, are you open to a dialogue, or do you want to?
I would love a dialogue.
Okay,
Great.
Because I didn't want to stop you.
No. I do go on rants,
Yeah.
but I'm sorry. I'll slow down.
Yeah.
And
So we'll go
Yeah.
Marion Holloway's concerns about conflicting reports, and I wrote the deed restrictions.
Bring it back to me. I don't even know what I said.
That's okay.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
It's on the record.
All right.
Don't worry.
Excellent. Yes.
So Deputy Mayor Voorhees and Councilman Cox are on a redevelopment subcommittee.
Yes.
And I'll let them address the deeds, if I may.
We can go with both. Everything that Marianne Holloway has given me, I have looked into, with the exception of this. She did give it to me at the Affordable Housing Subcommittee. I will own up that I've had some personal things going on this week, so I have not looked into this. It's the reason we found out the number was off with Triad. So everything she says, I've looked into. I don't always agree, but we say it honestly, and we say it to each other. I'm probably not saying as much here because I need to take this. I need to read it all. This isn't little.
Yeah. But she's been up here she's been coming up here since
But I've
December.
only been here 9 weeks.
Welcome to the circus.
You can ask these poor guys. I torture them with emails
Okay.
that the subcommittee gives. And just torture, and we just keep finding out the answers. And we're just going to keep pushing.
Okay. All right.
Can we
With
go
the
deed?
deeds?
Can we go deed? real
Go
quick?
for it. Yes.
With deeds, we have over 50 some odd people who have responded that they are interested. We are still finding out a bit more information with that. We are going to continue to look into not only the privately held ones, but the ones that are held, I believe commercially would be the word. We're going to look at those as well. There are groups who could be interested in extending their deeds. That is something that we all have to work with the town manager and that group with. So there might.
Well, thank you for engaging with me.
I got you.
All right, keep
You
going.
ask me, but most of the
But
time with her
just-
stuff, it's so thick.
I
I need
think-
to read it.
I think some of the delta between maybe our thought processes are, and I'll agree with you. Marion, her heart's in the right place, and I thank you.
Yeah,
for
she's
the
been
work.
nailing it, man.
Yeah, but just, if we can't count on the deed restrictions going towards the fourth round, and just at this point, we had a deadline that it elapsed on March 15th, on Sunday. I think everybody's amenable to the March 17th meeting that we're having right now, potentially codifying these ordinances. But the timelines have been very strict, and if we had the money and the deeds were going to work.
Yeah,
Brian,
Brian,
we
he
had the
made
same
sure,
meetings.
our township solicitor, the old one, he made sure there's no money. There's 100%, guys. He burned through it all. And this is a complete setup, and this is where we're at. But I wanted to ask about the time. Unless, did I?
No.
You
Go
replying
ahead.
to something else I
Yeah.
said? Because I can't even keep up with
That's
myself.
all right.
All right. So we are out of time, right?
As of Sunday.
As of Sunday. Okay. Can you answer this? Flying W is part of round 3.
Yep.
That was in 2020. They're 6 years behind right now for round 3. Who's suing us?
Fair Share Housing Center is suing us. The state of New Jersey regulations require us to combine round 3 and round 4 for unbuilt units. That was part of the plan that's been presented by Mr.
We're
Taylor.
being sued right now because we didn't comply with round 3.
We're being sued because under the new regulations, Fair Share Housing Center has the right, as do other individuals, to sue the town for not complying with the affordable housing mandates of the Supreme Court.
Forgive me. Is the fair housing? Is that the people off of Cooper in Cherry Hill there?
That's where they're off.
Man, I've met with them people a half a dozen. Meg, we met with them. They never talked about they're suing us. They were open to everything.
They
I was up there
challenged-
4 times with Meg and well,
They
I
filed
think Kim's
objections
here.
to every municipality's plan after June. Every single town. They objected to every single one.
That sounds really funny, man. I've talked to those people up there, and they were open-minded. Come on up here and ask me.
No.
All right. I don't know. There's so much. it just seems the whole thing is fuzzy and confusing, and I find it hard to believe we're being sued over round 3. This is news to me. But we'll keep going. Okay. Samos, I hear he's got plans. Has he come to council and submitted plans for his development off of 70, across from the Wawa? Nobody's heard from him. Up here?
We are not able to discuss matters in litigation.
Why can't we get
Right.
out and lean into it with
Right.
the community and say, yo, this is what's coming?
Right, for your sake and all of our neighbors' sakes, we shouldn't be discussing that in public. And
Why?
Because it's under litigation. If we say something that's not right or incorrect.
Could harm the township.
It could harm the township. I don't want it to cost us any more money than it's already costing us. So
Yeah.
we're not going to talk about that. It's under
It
litigation.
seems okay, and I understand, I guess that's under litigation, you're saying that's why you can't, but the township did hide round 4. This whole development was hidden from the residents. A few people, Mike, you knew about it, Bethany, you knew about it.
Which part was hidden, Brian?
The whole city coming. You guys announced it with Prime on what was it, March 25th? You knew about it a year before, Mike.
I knew about it when it was presented to us.
Mike, I put a post up on 08055. I have my phone. I can show it, okay? It was a burn post about the developers and the sewer system. And first time you reached out, do you remember? You asked me to remove it. Why?
Brian, I don't...
It's the only time, Mike. It's in the text. You said remove it, okay? And you know what the first comment was on that thread? Round 4. And it was, why are these
Of
developers...
March 24?
No, this was August of 2025, okay? I run something on 08055, and you reach out to me and ask me to delete it, okay? You said, look, I'm not on social media a lot, but please remove this. I did as a favor because I thought at the time they think you're sharing information with me and I'm making you look bad. I don't know why you asked me to remove it, but you obviously knew in August of 2025 this city's coming.
Time out.
Or why would you reach out to me?
No, fair question. Mr. Taylor or Mr. Knoll, when was Lafferty removed and Ricks brought in?
Lafferty was removed in the fall, I believe, and Ricks came in, I believe, November. But there was the initial housing plan was introduced and passed in June of 2025.
So I'm talking June of 24 then. Sorry, I got my years. Yes.
Okay.
You and I were talking.
You're more than welcome to disclose any information that we may.
Well, I just wondered why, come on, you guys had to know this was coming. Taylor, you worked on round 3, right?
Our office does not get involved in the housing.
But you're a Medford resident.
Right.
You said here at the last meeting, oh my goodness, you're almost tearing up. This sucks, but you knew this was coming.
So every well, the only part I can say, we were not involved with the creation of the housing element and fair share plan. We were not involved with those numbers. Once the housing element was completed, we took over to help make the design standards as tight and to try to push the developers as far as possible. We're doing this in other municipalities as well. So no, I did not know. What I will say, as Mr. Knoll indicated, in June of, and it's referenced in our report, the housing element was first approved in June of 2025. So at that point in time, the town was aware of what the numbers were because that was reflected in the original housing element, and that was...
Well, think about it. Trollinger's property, right? You guys rezone it in 2017, okay?
No.
Area redevelopment, 2017, because you're planning. The township's planning to use that farmland in what? Round 3, 2020. It doesn't get used. Everybody knows in the administration, round 4 is coming around, right? You knew there was a round 4. And I don't know how it was kept such a secret. And now you hear, and I'm not just saying Medford, I'm saying across the state. Because if I had heard something about Lumberton, Tabernacle, which neither of these towns seem to be going through what we're doing, all I'm saying is you know the builders are sitting there watching this clock tick down, okay? And there has to be people in the administration they're working with. I believe Earl, he pays attention to all the rounds. Good for him. This is, what he likes to do. If Samos is coming, I guess once the litigation ends and you guys make an agreement, will you come out to the public and say, hey, listen, and not wait till the last minute and say this is what's coming, and let us all at least...
Yeah, Brian, I'm going to answer that. I'm just going to ask for counsel because I don't want to get anyone to cost us money here. Once
the litigation is completed,
Mhm.
at that time, is council able to discuss any amendments or alterations to that
If there's
agreement?
any type of settlement would require a resolution of approval by the council, and at that time, council will have the opportunity to present whatever that.
Okay, that's all. I do think this
Right.
whole development was kept a pretty big secret. I don't know how, and I'm
Which
not
one?
even looking at you. This whole thing that's just got dropped.
This is fourth round, this.
Fourth round, yes, all this. And I knew Trollingers, I knew they were going to develop. I drive by there. I couldn't understand. You know why he didn't build in 2021, 22, 23, 24? Your solicitor. You got to go through your solicitor. That property would have been developed. Mike, you
Right.
think I'm lying, man? This is the north side. I know these people. For real.
I'm
Seriously,
not
don't
doubting-
saw me like that. If I say, yo, your solicitor, you can't get nothing done if you had land. And my point is, Voorhees, I can tell you, believe me, in 2022, Trollinger could have developed that, probably put 50, 60 homes up, and guess what? Round 4 would be somewhere else. And that's what I'm saying. There was a lot of efforts put in, and I'm not saying anybody up here was part of it. But I don't know why we can't at least all agree we got screwed here by the past administration. And it seems like we love blaming the state, and you're blaming the left. The left is your neighbors in this community. They have nothing to do with this poor planning of 3,000 people moving to one little area. You know people are going to get hurt coming out of Fostertown Road on Church Road. 100%. There's going to be probably fatalities there. That bridge, you got to slow down to 35. You know there's people out there fishing? I mean, it's just, it's hard to believe. And I sat here, I loved your thunder, by the way. I didn't catch your name when she was up here speaking. What was it? I hope you come back to more meetings, okay? And I loved when she came up here and she said, why are we even talking about windows and doors and eaves? To be honest, I don't care if it's red bricks or what these homes are. What we're talking about is the traffic impact and the schools. And I've heard the billing from Taylor is going to be north of $100,000 on a project like that. Is that about right? Do you have any idea? Do you guys know what?
We're at 9 minutes right now.
Okay, well, thank you.
No, I don't think we've ever had that much billing on any project ever.
Okay, is the sellers of the land paying his bill? Who's covering Taylor Design's bill?
The potential redeveloper.
Everything you're doing tonight, are we on the hook, or is Earl and Trollinger and Rick?
So escrow agreements were posted by the prospective redevelopers, like any applicant in the town. So those bills for the creation of the redevelopment plans is being funded by the prospective redeveloper under an agreement.
Okay, but what you did tonight, we're talking about the windows and the doors and all that you went over. Are we on the hook for that, or is Earl and those guys on the hook?
The developers.
Okay, good. For some reason, so there's misinformation. Thank you, because I thought the taxpayers are on the hook, and I'm like, this really sucks.
Just to clarify, and I don't want to put us, council had asked Mr. Taylor to come tonight to present that information. The information he presented was funded through an escrow. He may bill the municipality for being here tonight to present to us.
Yeah.
But those are two separate bills. Everything you saw that was presented is in extensive redevelopment plans that we're voting on tonight. That was paid through an escrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I appreciate it, man. I'm glad he's here. He seems pretty informative. I don't completely understand
You wouldn't
everything.
want anyone else handling your architecture.
Well, you should give the money back to my mom you took from us. Let's not get ahead of yourself, Mike,
Brian.
for real, all right?
Brian.
Come on, man. We were out $5 or $6 grand for him and his wife, and we got denied. So let's not be
denied.
all kissy here, okay? I still say he hammers residents. And he got your boy Troy for $45,000 for a desk in DeVillas. You don't want to hear it. Doesn't matter. I forgive you for taking all that money from my mom. I want to move on and get some peace in this community. All right, I want to commend you guys for firing Dan. He's fired, right? Or just suspended? It started the meeting out. You can at least explain what happened.
The resolution will be posted following the meeting.
But you suspended him in front of everybody. What does that mean?
Mr.
By
McGuffin?
statute, it's required action by the governing body, and that's why it was done.
All right, so is he fired, gone?
It's a
So
preliminary.
confusing.
The title is a preliminary notice of potential termination.
Okay. A lot of residents don't know, but this is a good thing for our community. It really is, okay? And I want to say one more thing and commend you guys. This lady, Angela, I met her maybe once. I keep hearing her name kicking around. I've talked to her. You guys got a really good asset. I hope we all realize that, and she's taken good care of, because she seems to be on the right side and really supporting and helping out anybody in this community that's trying to do the right thing, whether it's through different organizations. Just seems to be involved a lot and had some contacts over at the county. And I don't know, there's like one or two different people that are talking about it. I'm like, wow, you got a great employee there, all right? Can I keep going, man, because I got more.
Sir, we do have other folks that are looking to speak, and I believe we're
12 and a half minutes.
That's the
Let's
maximum
take it to
time.
15, Mike.
We have a lot. If you promise not to come to the next meeting, I'll give you 5 more.
All right, when's the next planning board meeting?
That's a joke.
All right, really quick, though.
Sir,
How about the
one more-
preservation?
one more point.
Preservation, okay? And this is what I really do hope to work with council in the future. The preservation fund, do we know what we have in there now?
You were referring to the Affordable Housing Trust.
No, I'm talking about the tax we all
Open
pay.
space.
Open space.
We are actively pursuing, there's some reimbursements owed to us, and the funding source for that is controlled by ordinance. Not by ordinance,
It was a referendum.
but we would need to go to referendum. We would need the public to allow us to increase the amount that we're taxing them to fund that open space balance, open space trust.
Got it.
Am I saying the right word?
We have a tax raise coming, though. I imagine we have one coming, and what I'm going to ask council...
You can imagine that forever, Brian.
Dude, it's coming.
It's New Jersey.
Believe me, how are we going to... Well, I know,
Yeah.
but this is going to be because of this development. And is it possible, like, long before you guys, you're going to raise the taxes, to talk to the community about different ways, and I guess, the open space tax. Do we have real money in there now?
There's sufficient funds, and as you know, we preserved across from Johnson's Farm. We're waiting for reimbursements for other preserved lands that we've contributed 100% to. We get reimbursed back portion to that. If it's about preserving more open space, I believe it was this week, if you may, the county lowered their standard.
Exactly, yep. I'm working with the final ranger meeting right now with the county office for open space and farmland preservation, to bring them into Medford to have a more open discussion on how we can get more actively involved. Because right now, a lot of it is the landowners going directly to the county. But we want to bring the county in to kind of spell it out so that the landowners know that this program is available, and really encourage landowners to approach the county for these purposes.
Great. I love that, Ryan. I got to tell you, I want to point something out. Relationships do matter, man. Our old mayor, he burned a lot of relationships, and one of them was, guess what? We're getting passed over grant by grant, 2018, 29. Chuck's in the paper saying, hey, I don't know. Well, he's picking on them and fighting with them left and right, starting with the old library. So I hope we have a good relationship with the county and then even the state, because the state has a lot of programs. And the more land we lock in, round 5, they can't touch it. And that's really, we went really hard in one direction to build. It's clear the last 5-6 years. Let's go the other direction now and preserve as much as we possibly can. Thank you.
20 minutes.
I'll see you at the next meeting for another 20. No, but thank you, council. All right.
You'll have to just come to the mic just so the public can hear you on the recording.
One sentence.
Okay, no problem.
Unless you want me to go in a couple other ways.
Good.
Eric Svensson, Brookside. When I do the calculations, we have 105 market rate homes that are above the 4-to-1 ratio. You're putting in 105 more market rate homes than allotted by the 4-to-1 ratio, based on the calculations.
I think you're claiming that the amount of market rate units being built would not justify 105 market rate units that are being built. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying if you do the 4-to-1 ratio, you're putting in 136 affordable units. You're putting in 105 more than that 4 times 136.
I believe that has to do with
the
171.
density, the bonus credits. Am I correct in saying that?
So you're supposed to be putting in 171.
It was essentially, I think, if I recall, they took the Lafferty property and what was approved for Lafferty and essentially moved that over to Rick's.
Yes,
To Rick's.
that's correct.
Right, but I think size-wise, we are over the density piece of it when you look at the percentages.
From a density.
From a density
Okay,
perspective.
not from a unit count standpoint. We're not talking about units, we're talking about density.
Even the units were.
Yeah.
For the, well, it depends. If you're considering a rental home, one unit in this situation, it is 105 over. But if you're counting that unit as a 1.5 credit because of whatever ratio you're doing with the credit for not putting in a affordable townhome that's being sold, why are we going over? And he's saying that they're up to. Why are we putting 105 additional homes in, or allowing them to put 105 additional homes in based on the 4-to-1 ratio of each individual owner unit or rental unit?
It's 4 to 1 and 171.
Yeah, the 171 is where they get the set aside.
But, so we don't get credit, so we're forced to allow a contractor to build 4-to-1 ratio on 171?
Correct. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah.
Yes, and
That's
we're
from
actually
684
lower than the 20%. I think
Yeah, you're lower
we're
lower
like
than that.
18.7%.
Right,
So-
we were able to negotiate down the total number of market rate units that the set aside allows.
So based on the state of New Jersey are the criminals because they're allowing the person to put in what the credits that we're supposed to apply for of 171. We're being forced to put in 171 homes in this town, bringing in 3,000 people that don't really have room here by the state of New Jersey.
The
That's
state of
what's
New
happening.
Jersey and the Supreme Court of New Jersey and the Supreme Court of the federal
Right.
government all codified the affordable housing rulings.
Understood.
Yeah, we have to abide by
We don't have
those
room
rules.
for them, and they're still making us do it. And they also are still allowing the contractor to do the 4-by multiplier on the 171, not the number of units.
Correct.
So problem. The plan that you said showed today on Rick's, up on that. Is that the latest or is that the oldest? Because every time we've seen a plan for Rick's, it gets worse. We met in December at the town hall,
Yep.
and there were individual homes that were going up and townhomes and no rental units going in. In the last plan I saw, there were rental units and townhomes with garages. The one he showed tonight has parking lots and parking spaces everywhere, and they're not putting in garages based on what I saw in the image tonight.
So the exact unit type is exactly the same as it was in the December of 2018, the housing element that was previously prepared. It was all market rate inclusionary townhouse. So the market rate townhouses do have garages.
That's not what's shown on the plan that you showed tonight, though.
It does. The affordable units do not have garages, but all of the market rate units.
The image we showed tonight has striped parking area in front of all the homes.
I think that may be a
You
graphic.
can pull it up and look at it from, you don't have to put it up there, I mean, you can look at it on there. That's all I really have. I mean, I just want to know why Rick's is getting worse as we go. We had townhomes that were being sold, then we had rental units, and then we have,
Can I show you this up close? So if you look at all these units, these all have driveways to garages here. There's a couple guest parking spaces. The stacked units. No, that was this one. But what, at a distance like that, that kind of looks like it could be a parking garage. Or a parking space, but only.
Okay, so it has not changed from that?
No, it has not changed. It's the same plan. Yep, thanks.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, I missed Mary Lucas. I'm going to go Mary Lucas.
You and then Mr. Hornicle. Then you'll let you speak.
Good evening. I'm here because I love Medford, and I love my home, and I love being here. I've been here over 30 years. And I'm really concerned because tonight, with all this discussion about moving forward on these different tracts of land, we still have a major issue that's unresolved, and that's the traffic on Taunton Boulevard. As you know, the last time we reported, there are over 300 vehicles a month up and down Taunton Boulevard, and over 1,600 trucks a month. Now, if any way that these projects will impact that, we're going to have a very serious problem. So my question to the council is that we resolve Taunton Boulevard before these projects begin, that we are assured to not be mired with additional trucks, employees getting to jobs, other kinds of businesses coming through to support these new projects. We can't sustain that. It's not fair to us to have to bear that burden. And I think we need to resolve the issue of Taunton Boulevard before we move forward here.
Amy, I'm happy to answer that part for you.
Sure.
I can tell you that we're definitely still pursuing all of the things that were on what we presented to council. I was speaking with Mr. Knoll. Things are moving. The beacons are going to be installed hopefully by the summer or in the summer. We're talking about widening over by Falls Road. I don't know if you want to add to that, what we discussed.
It would be striping Falls Road, basically over the dam for pedestrians and bicyclists.
So, and then he did talk to the county too about the weight restrictions. So we have things in progress, and that is no way going to be affected by what's going on with the redevelopment. So, and the affordable
We
housing.
really appreciate that and your effort as well, Mike. When we first started with this whole thing, my concern is that we're up against a time frame. And what we're asking for does not cost money. We want the speed limit reduced to 25, and we want the weight restriction. And that's something that we believe can be done more swiftly than what's happening. And my concern, as I said, is you're going to be adding a lot of numbers to that 300,000 a month if we don't take action before this project begins. And I had one other question related to the affordables. Will the affordables have washers and dryers in their units?
I don't know off the top of my head. I don't believe it's required by UHAC, the Uniform Housing Affordability Controls. That is really what will dictate the square footage and all of the requirements and the amenities for the
What
units.
is the plan then for folks to do their laundry?
So there, most of the time, there's typically common in some of those, and I don't know yet. That would be a subject when the final architectural plans are done. But there are requirements in the redevelopment plan that the bedroom distribution, the unit sizes, and all of the other code requirements comply with the UHAC requirements.
It just, you know, I said it last time, Medford has become very elitist. Why are people supposedly trying to help and have affordable housing? They have to cluster their trash. They won't have a washer and dryer. There's no place for their kids to play. It just doesn't seem like it's helping people, you know? And I feel very sad for them because I think we're doing a disservice. And if units can't have a washer and a dryer, and there's one laundromat in Medford that I'm aware of, and I've been here almost 30 years. So I certainly hope that there is a humane consideration going forward that these units have washers and dryers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who is next? Oh, ma'am, I forgot her. I've been skipping over people I promised. I'm so sorry. Ma'am, I apologize for skipping over you.
That's okay. My name is Shannon Igo, and I live at 2 Harper Ferry Court. So I know that the plans are drafts as of now, but the landings at Kirby's Mill, it's a little bit less than 200 units going in there, and as it stands, it only has one entrance and exit, which is directly across the street from the historic Kirby's Mill. I live in Headwater Village, which I believe is less than 200 houses in there, and we have 3 entrances and exits. So I'm just very concerned, like other people have said, about the traffic in that area and like daily getting in and out of potentially 200 to 400 cars for the 200 units. And as Mr. Karn said, the intersection of Fostertown and Church is a really hard intersection to turn on. Yeah. It's, you know, a hill on one side that you can't see past and a turn on the other side that you can't see past. So having to turn down there to get in and out of your housing development, I think is very difficult to ask for the people that will live there. So, and I know everyone has said that it's draft and it will change, but I just wanted to point that out, that seems a little irresponsible of us to allow that. That was it.
Thank you very much.
One minor follow-up, all of these projects, and it's a state law and it's reiterated in the redevelopment plans. The New Jersey Residential Site Improvement Standards has very specific requirements for the number, the sizes of roadways, numbers of entrances, whether it has to be divided or bifurcated along the frontage. The landing site does have limited site frontage there, so that site is a little more constrained than others, but it will have to be, as we mentioned before, traffic studies will have to be submitted in conjunction with site plan approval, and all of the design will have to fully comply with the residential site improvement standards.
Thank you for that. Okay. I promised some folks, sir, and then I'll go to Mr. Ortiz. Yes, sir.
So my name's David Ross. These guys know me. I'm a former member of the planning board. I lived in Medford for 45 years. So one of the questions is, like, there's a lot of issues being raised and questioned. Are they actually, and I'm not saying this facetiously, are they actually going to be addressed? Like, and hopefully they will. And because there's a lot, and unfortunately for all of you, it's a burden. But anyhow, and I'm just kind of wading in on this. I'm getting up to speed, so forgive me if there's some duplicative answers here. What was the Sunday deadline? Round 4 compliance?
Correct. Supposed to have introduced and adopted redevelopment, well, in this case, ordinances authorizing to meet our number.
Okay. And some of this I might have missed, but somebody brought up Flying W being part of round 3, and that's not started. Isn't there some, like, timing requirement for that, or what's this?
That's folded into round 4, and that's part of the settlement agreement that the court has approved.
Okay.
That'll be part of this project.
Okay, all right, thank you. And when does round 5 come?
10 years from now, 2035.
Okay, so it's every 10 years. Yeah, that's what I remember. I had a note there because I remember it was 15, 17 when we did all that first. Yeah, it's just part of what is amazing to me is, like, and maybe you know the answer to this is, again, having lived here since '79, it's like the past 8 years. It's like all of a sudden it's like, you know, we're going from 0 to 60 on all this enforcement. Like, what changed?
Can I take a shot at that? So you may go back 10 years, and it was a different governor in office. That governor stopped, essentially, the Council on Affordable Housing. He refused to appoint anyone to it. And there was a great delay at that juncture in the production of affordable housing in the state. Supreme Court did not like that. The Supreme Court mandated that the state had to take action to address rounds 3 and coming round 4. That governor delayed as long as he could, as I understand it. In 2018, a new governor took office. and he then expedited the process to get rounds 3 and 4 done. That included legislation that was adopted in June of ¡24 to put us where we are this very night. And that June legislation of '24 was adopted, setting administrative regulations, setting up the court's involvement in them, and the mandates and the deadlines that had to be followed.
Okay, thank you. Pardon me. Previously, like Samos owned all the sewer permits going back many years, okay? What is the sewer capacity for all of this? Is there going to be a need for additional capacity on the existing plant, a new plant? Do we know?
The existing plant has sufficient capacity for these developments.
For all of, okay?
Yes.
Okay. I think the lady before me was talking about the intersection, was it Hartford Road?
Fostertown and Church.
Oh, Fostertown, okay. So I'm going to bring up, somebody said Kirby's Mill. Is that across from the school? The Kirby's Mill one?
No, it's at Church in Ayerstown.
Okay, okay. All right, then never mind that. Okay. I didn't understand the name then. And what about the additional demand for the schools? Has that been identified?
Not yet, Dave. What we mentioned was, again, as Mr. McGuckin indicated, the towns were given these numbers. The housing element had to be done last year.
Mm-hmm.
We have to get the zoning done now. We wrote requirements into the redevelopment plans that each one of the redevelopers will have to submit a community fiscal impact analysis to help the town plan for what those fiscal impacts will be to the schools, recreation, emergency services, and the like, so the town can plan for it. It wasn't something that the legislation and the state really considered when they gave us our number of 171 prospective units. It's something that we're doing sort of from a defensive position so that the council can best plan for how this mandate will impact our community.
Okay.
Greg, do you want to follow up on that? Did you have
They didn't care. They don't care. The people who created these regulations, the people
No.
who adopted it, view, I don't want to get too into it, they view it as it's your constitutional obligation, fix it.
Yeah.
Pay it,
Yeah.
pay for it, do it. That's their
Well,
attitude.
part of the reason I'm asking the question is if you do the math, I don't know what the cost for a single-family home is, but it's 171. If it's 250,000 a unit, maybe it's more than that, maybe it's 300. You're talking $40-50 million. Okay, but if you're adding on to a sewer plant, you're adding on to schools, then you start to say, okay, maybe it makes sense just to build the units. And I'm not suggesting that, but it's like, hopefully there's more. Look, there's always, politics are politics. And this is my last question. Have the builders already been identified for the 3 redevelopment plans?
There's proposed.
I heard yes.
It's proposed.
Proposed.
Yeah.
They
So
have not been named.
to me, how does that happen versus if we're just showing compliance, how are we already identifying who the builders are? It's a little too
Well, I think
mucky.
someday
Doesn't seem right.
Someday somebody will do a study on what fair share housing agreements are or discussions are with various developers in this state. Someday.
Exactly.
Someday that'll
Politics.
happen.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your time. Thank you for all the hard work you guys do.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Article?
Good evening. I'll do my best to try to stick within the 5 minutes. Tonight, you council passed a resolution seeking to terminate my appointment as township manager. And for those of you who don't know, it came out of the blue. I asked that you convene your deliberations in open public session. My rights were violated by failing to allow me to speak before you took action. When I was offered the position by the prior council, I was asked for a 3-year commitment. Part of the reason I chose Medford was that a 3-year commitment aligned with my goal to work to age 55 and retire from public service. Though I won't reach that age until the fall of 2027, I'm willing to calibrate. As anyone in public sector knows, retiring earlier than allowed will require a significant financial sacrifice. When this year began, you as a new council announced that you wanted to be more transparent and more engaged with residents. The 2 expectations you outlined for me were to increase the township's distribution of information to residents and to communicate frequently with you. As everybody in this room is aware, our social media presence has greatly increased in 2026 thanks to the efforts of the police chief, fire and EMS chief, public works and utilities director, and our external affairs coordinator. We've made it a practice to be proactive with pertinent information. On the topic of communicating with council, it is indisputable that I frequently engage with you. I have easily sent over hundreds of emails to you as a group or individually in just 2.5 months, along with dozens of text messages, phone calls, and in-person meetings. I have consistently been responsive to any and all of your questions. My career isn't in jeopardy tonight because I've done anything wrong. In fact, when a prior council asked township department managers to evaluate me last fall, my average rating came in over 85 on a scale of 100. Some department managers noted my commitment to running an ethical and responsive township government. I've spoken with dozens of residents this year alone who have complimented township staff and me for our prompt and courteous responses to their telephone calls and emails. Since I've been on a roll, I'd had to correct numerous deficient business practices that were impeding the efficiency of township government or plainly bad for business. People promoted to supervisors in Medford have historically received no training. I instituted a supervisor training program and trained most township supervisors and department managers in the fall of 2024. This year, on account of the number of promotions in the second half of 25, I ran another supervisor training program to equip our newer supervisors and managers with the knowledge and skills needed to oversee their staff and prudently manage township resources. Our payroll and timekeeping systems were a mess when I started due to a mid-year change in 2024 before I took over. In 2025, we went from having 3 separate timekeeping systems down to 2. The goal this year, once police union negotiations are concluded, is to get down to a single timekeeping system, which is a norm. Multiple timekeeping systems waste managers' time and efforts on routine tasks that should be automated. Working with our benefits broker and HR coordinator, I overhauled the voluntary benefits program. Medford is unique as a public employer because it does not participate in the state temporary disability benefits program. That means the township needs a good voluntary benefits program to offer products for our employees to purchase should they have to take an extended leave from absence due to injury or illness. It also saves the township money when employees participate in flexible spending arrangements for unreimbursed medical expenses or daycare expenses by diverting wages pre-tax, which saves the township on FICA cost. We've been very aggressive in getting more people enrolled in these programs. The Personnel Policies and Procedures Manual was a mess. There were sections of the manual that made no sense and confused employees. Working with the HR coordinator, she and I revised that manual and created a separate employee handbook that more clearly outlined the parameters of employment, mainly for department managers and non-union personnel. Some of the union contracts were also difficult to understand or implement, or contained illegal clauses such as allowing employees to roll over more vacation time than statutorily permitted. In 2021, the state comptroller published a report that was embarrassing to many towns that had contract language in violation of state laws. We have been actively negotiating with our unions to make the contracts both fair to workers, the township, and legally compliant. The employee benefits program was a disaster. May I? Sure. We identified a number of employees who are not paying the correct amounts for their benefits, primarily underpaying us. which we corrected for January of last year. Over the course of 2025, the HR coordinator worked with our benefits broker to do an internal audit of the people on our plan. The audit identified a couple handfuls of retirees who were either not paying at all or were underpaying for retirement benefits. We also started paying a health benefits waiver to employees who were ineligible to receive it. Finally, we worked with our benefits broker over the past fall to move a couple dozen employees and retirees from higher cost plans into lower cost plan for 2026 to reduce the enormous expense increase in the budget for active and retiree health benefits. For purchasing, this too was another area of weakness. Our bid template document was not compliant with state procurement laws, and our purchasing practices did not base our purchases using commodity codes, which made it harder to tell if we were compliant with statutory pay-to-play laws and bid thresholds. In August, we brought on a very experienced part-time qualified purchasing agent who has addressed the weaknesses in our purchasing program. Council, the budget process has also been extraordinarily difficult. Last year, the CFO and I had to fill a $3.3 million budget gap. We did it, but we were unable to improve our surplus reserve. This year, we faced another extraordinarily difficult budget, this time with a $1.3 million budget gap, but fewer options to balance the budget. Despite these challenges, she and I were prepared tonight to introduce a balanced budget that increases the surplus reserve by nearly $100,000. These are the kind of actions we need to take to ensure our bond rating remains stable. I'm almost done, Mayor. I got 3 more paragraphs. There are a number of other areas that have either improved or are working to improve to make township government run more efficiently. We've streamlined the OPRA request system. We have implemented GIS digital maps on our website that have been infinitely helpful to residents, businesses, and realtors. And through the budget process, we are addressing a number of capital items that have faced years of neglect. By way of illustration, over the years, residents have attended council meetings to complain about the condition of their roads. Some of those residents were told their roads couldn't be repaved because the water mains below their streets were too fragile. That's an unacceptable excuse. Consequently, we were proposing to budget over $1.2 million in the water utility capital budget this year to continue replacing water mains in Lake Pine and Tamarack, enabling us to include those roads in current and future road repaving schedules, and more importantly, addressing those residents' concerns directly. Another area of improvement has been our snow response, or snow removal. Former Mayor Rebstock, after a winter storm last year in 2025, lamented to me that Medford roads always seem to be worse than surrounding neighbors. He challenged me to work with the Public Works and Utilities Director to turn that around, and we have. Since the December snowstorm, our response has improved with each storm, despite the conditions growing increasingly worse. We haven't had snowfalls of these amounts with accompanying conditions in 30 years. I answered calls from or returned calls to residents who complimented Public Works and Utilities efforts each storm. Lastly, when I was offered a position of manager, I was told that the position is 35 hours a week, plus 2 night meetings a month. Under the prior council, I typically worked 40 to 45 hours a week and could flex my time when I worked night meetings. Under this new council, I have been working consistently 40, 50, or more hours per week. In both January and February, I attended 4 night meetings a month. My commitment to this township is indisputable. I have other things I'd like to say, but for the good of it, I'm going to hold off on those. I just wanted to make a record so that the public understands just how hard and how much time I have invested making Medford Township a better place.
Ma'am, you had your hand up earlier, and Jim, I'm not skipping over you. She did have her hand up first. Would you like to speak, ma'am? Okay. All right. Mr. Schiff. All right.
Kelly Svensson, 19 Chaucer, Brookside. One thing, I know this is repetitive from the last time, but I'm saying it purposefully just so it's out there. Again, our concern in Brookside, where originally we were told that we would have the 300 buffer, as well as even at the town hall, where we had discussed that all of the units would be sellable units. It is just disconcerting to all of us that that has changed, because that's going to impact the environment. I do feel like one thing that should be out there for clarification's sake, that when people come up and they talk and sometimes will say low income instead of affordable, but I feel like everybody needs to know that under DCA, affordable housing is an umbrella that encompasses low income to very low income. That needs to be known and realized, because if not, it seems like the semantics of it is a bit manipulative. So just in the community, I think it's something we need to be aware of. Based upon that, and now that we've switched over for credit's sake to rental properties, now there should be a concern in so many different ways of, will that become a very low? So within the state regulations, we have our low income, our very low. So what is that going to look like? And the fact that it's going to look different, maybe there's not washer and dryers, would lead one to be concerned that that is what could possibly come in. Then what will that look like? We all know when somebody has a buy-in to something, that just makes you respect your property. It makes you respect your surroundings. It makes you respect your neighborhood, and quite frankly, the surrounding neighborhood, which will be us. I realized how blessed we are to live in our neighborhood, because quite frankly, we look out for each other's kids to a point where people have been comfortable, and I am comfortable saying to someone, hey bud, you may not want to do that. And we've been receptive, and we really have a village community going on there. When the dynamics of the possible people coming into this new setting, that could change. And that's very concerning. And quite frankly, it's concerning for security reasons as well. And we haven't really even addressed that, which needs to be something, because that long-term could impact our police. The other thing, as we're sitting there, I know with Lafferty, you said it came out in the fall, and then Rick's came in November. And if you look at the original plans, Lafferty, and I know I'm off a bit with this, but it's basically was an 86 acre. Rick's at about 61, but now with the wetland, we're down to about 17. So how are we taking the same amount and moving it to such a smaller space? It's not logical. I'm not sure, like, even one who doesn't excel at spatial relations would have to understand that doesn't really work. There's all kinds of things with no washer and dryer. So I know we've talked about the home association that will be in charge of the new that are going in. Well, what will be the rules? What about, we don't need clotheslines all over. What will be the parking? If you have rental, if more people are coming in, how are you going to control how many cars are in there? What is that going to look like? What is the safety of that? There's just so many things that we need to think about. And can we consider making what we're saying are going to be rental go back to the original of they're buyable? That would seem better. And we really, as a development, we did get to talk to the builder. And there was discussion with the fence, but it was very clear that that fence would not be a deterrent. So we really are asking, we need more of a buffer. We need that, at minimum. And to quote myself the last time, I feel like that's just, we all want to play nicely with one another. And to do that, I think we need to consider what is already here and what's coming in. And I do understand. I respect all of you. I understand your hands are tied with some things, but there's some things that aren't, and sometimes just to stand firm and say, okay, as a town, these are what's coming down from the state, but where there's room to push back, we need to do that. We really do. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Sir, would you like to?
Yes, if I could address the rental and the very low income units. There are certain percentages that the state requires that we have a minimum. So we have no minimal leeway on that as well.
In regard to who?
As regard to the number of rental units and the number of very low income units.
So when and mind you, this is not what I do, but under DCA, it says affordable housing, and then the number for the state, nowhere does it say that. I have read that it says it has to be rental, that there has to be a certain percent that has to be rental as well. We, as a town, have to cover the affordable housing.
The minimum is 25% for rental, of which half of those have to be family rentals. Correct?
I believe that's correct.
Yeah.
And that's in the regs? Like it's saying that
Yes, and it's in
what we're bringing in
it's in our
has to be
plan, and
rental?
it's required by fair share housing and the courts, and that's what we have to do.
And is that why there was a change from the original plan, that when we were told they would all be viable units?
I don't recall that discussion, so I don't know about that.
This plan has the same exact market and affordable unit distribution as the housing elements that were adopted in June and again in December of 2025. These units, through that whole process, have been rental, have been 3-bedroom family rental units for close to a year now. So I'm not sure when that information came out, but from when the plan was developed
It was in the plan from
a year ago.
the beginning.
We took those same exact land use types and just did the design standards. So they have big rental units for these units.
And that's the same statewide. The requirement for part of it being rental and very low income is a mandate as part of the entire process.
So for clarification, it's rental because it will be very low income.
That is.
Okay. I mean, that's kind of what we need to be aware. And as an educator, that becomes more of a financial in regard to what's going to come into our schools.
And that breakdown is also set by law. There is a standard for a minimum of 13% of the units have to be very low income. I don't think it's
I don't know if it's me.
sorry.
That's okay.
I'm not sure if I'm on. 13% have to be very low income, and then there are also low income and moderate income categories that are established under that UHAC requirement that we talked about before. There's also bedroom distribution requirements, et cetera, that we have to comply with, or we're not in compliance with the court, the consent order and the settlement agreement and all those other legal things. So those are set forth. Every municipality has to comply with those 3 different categories, the unit sizes and the bedroom distribution. So those were already set in the housing element that was done last year that Mr. Noble was referring to. So there haven't been any changes to that as part of these redevelopment plans for the new zoning.
So if that's the case, shouldn't those be evenly distributed between the 3 sites?
So those were also set forth in that distribution in the housing element and fair share plan, and that has not been modified with these new redevelopment plan ordinances to change that.
Well, I'm just saying for our town,
Well,
like the
that,
distribution.
that was a last year question. That one I can't answer. I did have a chance, Mayor, if I can. I did just look up the floor plans for the affordable units, and all of those do have a stacked washer and dryer unit within each one of the affordable units.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Schiffer?
I'm going to make this real quick tonight, because it's late. My name is Jim Schiffer. I live at 209 Taunton Boulevard. And I really couldn't hear Mary well when she was speaking, so I just wanted to make sure we're clear about a couple numbers that she threw out there. We have 300,000 vehicles on our roadway a month right now. According to the report that was done in last July, we have 160 vehicles a day that are over 40 feet. That's 160 a day over 40 feet. And since it was done in July, that does not include school buses. All right? So now during the school year, throw another 20 school buses on that road every day. And what's going to happen is the township is going to have to rebuild our homes if every builder that's involved in affordable housing comes down Taunton Boulevard with 60-ton dump trucks. They're probably going to add another 40 to that number, so we're going to be at 200 huge vehicles every single day. I can tell you our homes are going to have to be rebuilt because we have cracks in our foundations. We have cracks in our walls. And I was thinking about this whole issue the other day about weight restrictions. Maybe we should pursue putting weight restrictions on Medford. I was driving home from the gym the other day, and there was a dump truck coming down Main Street, a fully loaded 60-ton. I'm sure the vendors on Main Street don't appreciate that. And there's a town, and somebody chuckled over here, but there's a town in North Jersey that did exactly that. They put a weight restrictions on the whole entire town. It's one town before that bridge that Chris Christie shut down that day. I forget the name of the town. But they had a ton of truck traffic coming through their town, and they actually got weight restrictions on the entire town because all those trucks were headed to the bridge to go into New York City. So maybe we just kind of like make a big circle around it and say, look, if you want to do business for the affordable housing units that are north of Route 70, then you've got to use 73, you've got to use 206, and you've got to use Route 70. And stay the hell out of Medford. Stay the hell out of these residential neighborhoods. Taunton Boulevard, that 1 mile stretch, is probably the most densely populated 1 mile stretch of road out of the top 5 used roads in Medford. That Taunton Boulevard and Taunton Road are the number 3 most popular roads used in Medford, behind Stokes and Hartford. But Stokes and Hartford don't have homes that sit right on the roadway. So Taunton Boulevard becomes the most densely populated 1 mile stretch of busy roadway. And what happens? We get inundated every single day by dump trucks, cement trucks, propane tankers, car carriers, 18-wheel tractor trailers that shake our houses all day long. And I'm a nap taker, and I get woken up every single day, and that's not the important aspect of that. But it just goes to show that my house literally shakes. My dog jumps up off the couch when the house starts to shake, honest to God. And I can show you nail pops and cracks in my walls, and we have neighbors who can show you cracks in our foundations. Lake Pine is falling apart. And if the affordable housing, if this thing starts, there's got to be a way to mandate that they are not allowed to use Taunton Boulevard to get to those building sites. Say to them, if you want the damn contract, stay the hell off of Taunton Boulevard. Use the highways, 73 and 206, if you want the contract. Thank you very much for your time tonight. Peace, love, and granola.
Hi, my name's Nancy Pignatello, and I live in the Brookside development. I just have a question about the units, the affordable housing units that are going in by Rick's. Are they all rentals? Do we have the breakdown of how many are rentals and how many are for sale?
So we do. For the Iron Bridge or Rick's site, 239 of the units are fee simple townhouse units.
Market value.
rate.
Yes.
And 48 are the affordable rentals.
That's what I'm speaking to.
Yes.
So the affordable units are all rentals, none of those are for sale.
Correct.
Because some of the affordable housing that is going in town will be for sale also, or they're strictly all rentals?
The for sale exists on Stonebridge, correct?
Yeah, so Stonebridge, the senior affordable twins are fee simple for sale units.
So the remaining affordable housing then are all just rentals?
They are all 3-bedroom rental stacked townhouses.
Okay. And then, because I think this was a little mischaracterized in one of the meetings I came to, because I was not familiar so much with affordable housing and low-income housing, but I was told that our affordable housing is not low income, that it's two different things. But now if I'm understanding correctly today, we have kind of a mix of considered affordable, low income, and very low income. Is that correct?
That's all mandated by the state.
Yes.
And we're required to provide housing to each tranche.
So there's like three different levels.
Whether
Okay.
3 or more, there's 3.
Three. Okay, because I think there was a little misstatement that we weren't having low income. So now it's my understanding then some of it is.
That's often mistaken because it refers to the federal regulations with respect to Section 8. These are not that process, but oftentimes they try to conflate them to two different same things. They're not. But it's not Section 8 out.
Right. Okay. And then is this kind of evenly distributed between the three parcels? Like your three levels of affordability. So is that equally distributed between the three different sections? Do you understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm.
So I would defer to Mr. Knoll on that.
They're not exactly equally distributed. We looked at all three developments and tried to get to our number of 20%. We're actually at 18.7%, which is lower than what the builder would want, but they're fairly close. You have 287 units at Parkview at Kirby's Mill, which is Iron Bridge, 48 affordable. Of the 198 at the Camp EFS, there's 40 affordable, and of the 300 at Trollinger, there is.
Oh yeah, no, that part I understand. But say basically like the 50 units at Rick's Auto Body, and there's 48, whatever.
Right.
But with the three levels of affordability, I'm trying to be.
There's a certain percentage of each that has to be done, minimum percentage.
And so they're kind of evenly. I'm just thinking socioeconomically that it's kind of. I'm trying to be polite.
Yeah.
That it's equal, like that Rick's doesn't have all of the.
They're not.
No, it's.
There's
Do
not
you
one
understand what I'm
demographic
saying?
in one location
spread
and
out,
another.
yes.
It's not. They're mixed throughout the inclusionary.
Okay,
properties.
okay. And then also, do these the townhomes? Do they have homeowners associations?
They will.
They will. So I mean, I think that will help to maintain, the area also. And then I guess one other concern is with the affordability issue, how that affects kind of the school system with the concentration of kids in one area, for that it's not kind of, I don't know how they're going to deal with that.
We are extremely concerned about that, and as I mentioned, I'm sorry, Elizabeth, that we're working very closely with the schools. We've asked our planner to work with the team at the school board to come up with realistic numbers, not Rutgers numbers, not some number that maybe the statewide number would dictate how many students come from these developments, but looking at Autumn Park and saying how many homes are there, of what size and shape, and how many students were generated from that, and then overlaying that math equation to these three new parcels, saying, okay, Rutgers is going to say, I'm making up numbers here, 200 students, but we know, based off existing information, that it's probably more like, again, these are made up numbers, 300 students, because we don't want the schools planning for 200, and here comes another 100 students on top of what they planned for. We're being as open and forthcoming with this information as we possibly can. As Mr. Taylor said, those numbers aren't yet determined until we have approved plans. But that is, on a personal matter, I mean, again, we have children in the school system, grandchildren. We don't want the schools to be any more adversely affected than they already will be. Right. So we're doing everything we can.
And you just want that the kids, since they're coming from the affordable housing, how you don't, I don't know how to say this politely. You don't want the schools on one side of town to be reflective in one way, and for the schools on the other side of town, there to be a divide.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something that has to be considered for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just trying to turn down that amplification. That is getting painful.
Are any of the homes on high end?
I'm
Are
sorry.
any of the homes high end, as far as it's very expensive?
I think the market rate units will be reflective of the character of Medford, so they will be unrestricted and presumably...
Expensive?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
I believe so, sure.
Sure. That's okay. That's all right.
Can we get her on the record?
Yes, ma'am, I'll state her question. Is it Kelly?
Yeah.
Kelly. Kelly asked, who will own the rental units? If you're okay with me asking the question.
We don't know.
So currently, we don't have that information because there's
It's usually a nonprofit that deals with these type of affordable housing around the state. A number of developers that do it. Usually what happens.
Portland's not going to own them.
I'm sorry?
Portland won't own them.
They might. I don't know. We don't know.
It's a real estate transaction that we're not privy to.
If it's nonprofit, it becomes...
No. The nonprofit entity runs it, but they're still built as affordable units. The developer builds them, and then oftentimes conveys them to a nonprofit to manage and run them, and that's usually what happens.
And there's very specific reporting that has to happen about the eligibility requirements and the income requirements, and there are audits that the municipal affordable housing consultant oversees that to make sure that the town continues to get credit, that who is supposed to be in those units is in those units, and that they qualify. So there is a lot of oversight to make sure that affordability and all those affordability controls are maintained for the life of that affordability unit.
Sir.
How you doing? My name is Matt. I'm a homeowner on Church Road. I just have a couple questions. I'm not sure if any of the DEP studies have been done on the Kirby's Mill, the landings at Kirby's Mill, or the Iron Bridge locations yet. Not yet? Okay. Because I
Those
do know...
studies are underway.
They are, okay. Because I am a DEP volunteer. I also work with the Pinelands Preservation Alliance, as well as Conserve Wildlife New Jersey, and a couple other organizations who do that. And I know there are a couple threatened and endangered species that do reside on both of those properties. They also do feed from those properties. So anything that does threaten their habitats can just be pretty much shut down. So I know that that is something just to take into consideration. That is something that we have worked closely with the Bald Eagle Project of New Jersey with, as well as Conserve Wildlife New Jersey and the NJDEP. So they are aware of the species that are in the area. So I'm bringing that up.
Thank you. And Mr. Knoll, the process or timing of those studies?
That's part of the LOI, the wetlands delineation and flood hazard area studies, as well as archaeological studies. So that's underway. It takes a year or so for the state to review it and issue a permit or not issue a permit. So it's, and their studies are just starting now. They're just underway.
Sir, I appreciate your efforts, not only on this area, but all the things you volunteer and do. But please stay close to that. Thank you. Anyone else?
Ms. Holloway's comment on our report from 2015. So in 2015, it was prior to round 3, when we were trying to reduce our numbers for round 3. So we were very aggressive in that report. We used state maps for environmental wetlands, which are, as everyone knows, not very accurate. We used existing zoning. If anything was in the sewer service, not in the sewer service area, we took that out. We took everything out in planning areas 3 and 4. That study was rejected. It was not approved. It's not part of the round 3. It wasn't approved by Fair Share Housing. It wasn't approved by the courts. We got our numbers reduced from 800 and some to 485 just through negotiations. So I wish that study was accurate and all we could build was 150, but they didn't buy what we did.
And you're referring to
the report that Ms. Holloway
okay.
just said.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify.
I just want to clarify that the goal there was to reduce the number of units, and we weren't successful.
And that reduction in units for round 3, if you could just restate.
That was for round 3.
And that came from this? Or?
That round 3 agreement was in 2017, so that
Understood.
was prior to round 3. That was in anticipation of round 3 numbers.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, if I also could add something, because Ms. Holloway's I've talked to her directly about it. The council should be aware that last week, Tom Zerver, who really pioneered this, or use of the affordable controls, it fell apart. They no longer are utilizing that process and had to amend their plan at the very last minute. And for a number of reasons, and I'll get more detail about it in the future, but it didn't work, and it's not part of their plan going forward.
Thank you for that. Sure. Would anyone else from the public like to speak? Okay. Seeing none, may I have a motion to close public comments?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Would anyone like to entertain a bathroom break? Everybody good? Okay, just making sure. All right. At this time, I will remove the manager's report from the agenda, and we will move to the clerk's report.
Okay, so we have a 50/50 raffle license for NYAA, May 9th, at Shawnee High School. And we also have approval for social affair for St. Mary's of the Lake School Carnival, May 11th through the 15th. And I just need it all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, good to see St. Mary's back on the roster.
There you go.
My kids will be happy with that carnival.
Yeah. Moving on to the bill list, we have 3 bill lists for approval: March 4th, 2026, March 11th, 2026, and March 13th, 2026. Do any members of council have any questions or comments on the bills list? No. No? Okay. May I have a motion to approve the bills list?
I'll make a motion. Or second?
Ray, Michelle. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, those lists are approved. Now we have ordinances for introduction. May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 2026-9?
I move that council introduce on first reading ordinance 2026-9, ordinance to amend and supplement the code of the Township of Medford, Chapter 140, thereof entitled Vehicles and Traffic, to designate an additional stop intersection within Schedule 9 of Section 140-26.
Thank you. This ordinance allows for the addition of a stop sign that will be added at the intersection of Charles Street and Post Office Lane. Just for the public, it is, if you're coming down Charles and Magnified is on your right and Cranberry is on your left, we will be hopefully adding a stop sign there to allow for any pedestrian traffic to flow safely. Does anyone have any questions or comments on this ordinance from council? No? I need a second.
Second?
Okay. And roll call for approval?
Ms. Santamore?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Ms. Mill?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Voorhees?
Aye.
Mayor Sizik?
Aye. Public hearing for this will be on April 14th, 2026. I will now entertain a motion for ordinance 2026-10.
I move that council introduce on first reading ordinance 2026-10, amending Chapter 19 Length of Service Award Program and Chapter 71 Fees and Licenses to enhance incentives for public safety volunteers.
This ordinance allows for volunteer fire and EMS members to have automatic annual consumer price index adjustments. It also adjusts fees for volunteers for park rental, facility use, certain zoning, and construction fees, food vending vehicles, farm stand, and water and sewer fees. May I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions about this ordinance? Okay. Seeing none, roll call, please.
Ms. Santamore?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Ms. Mill?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Voorhees?
Aye.
Mayor Sizik?
Aye. This public hearing will also be on April 14th. Now we will move to ordinances for second reading. May I have a motion on ordinance 2026-5?
I move that council adopt on second reading ordinance 2026-5, authorizing the creation of 2 new positions within the township workforce.
Okay. The new positions are of Deputy Chief of Fire and Emergency Medical Services and Automation Engineer for the Department of Public Works and Utilities. They have been established, the Automation Engineer has been established to oversee specific functions within the town's operations. We will now, second?
Second?
Okay. We will now open to public comment on this ordinance only. Would anyone like to speak on this ordinance? Seeing none, I'd like to motion to close.
Motion to close?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Ms. Wicker, roll call, please.
Ms. Santamore?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Ms. Mill?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Voorhees?
Aye.
Mayor Sizik?
Aye. Right, moving on, we have, may I have a motion on ordinance 2026-6?
I move that council adopt on second reading ordinance 2026-6, adopting a redevelopment plan for the non-condemnation redevelopment area consisting of Block 803, Lots 6.01 and 6.02.
Thank you. Second?
Second?
Okay. The planning board determined that this site, known as Parkview at Kirby's Mill, qualifies as a non-condemnation redevelopment or rehabilitation area. The council wishes to adopt a redevelopment plan for this property. I will now open the floor to public comment on ordinance 2026-6.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, is this Rick's or is this Kirby's? No, I thought this was Rick's.
Oh, I'm sorry.
6.01, 6.02.
Is, forgive me?
Rick's is 803, block 803, lot 6.01.
Okay.
I'm sorry, this is Rick's.
This is, okay.
Rick's,
Thank you.
which is, forgive me, the name of Rick's.
Iron
Bridge.
We should start putting that in there. Yeah, I think you asked that last time, didn't you? Yeah.
Thank you for that, Councilman.
Thank you, sorry about that.
That's all right.
No, good catch.
Okay, so now.
We just don't know it by the block.
Do I need a motion to open? Or no, I don't. Right? No, okay. I'm going to open up for public comment on ordinance 2026-6.
I'm sorry, Bonnie. Could
Could you just go over once more the implications of this, just
Sure.
on this
So,
one?
not only this ordinance that we're
Yeah, just,
voting,
yeah.
but the next two.
Yeah, the
are-
implications
Yep.
that we have to vote tonight.
Yes,
Yeah.
so we are voting to adopt on second reading an ordinances that, Mr. McGuckin, I'm going to try this one, but please correct me here. Not only this council on March the 3rd, but the planning board on March the 12th, during a review period, determined that these three sites are qualified for redevelopment, and the site plans set forth are to be approved by passing this ordinance.
That's correct, and the ordinance is the requirement of the litigation and the consent agreement that we need to provide the zoning to permit this type of use as part of our settlement agreement.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
yeah. So, yeah, and that's a very, very great question. And just to go back to Mr. Taylor's presentation, this sets forth a concept plan that now has overlay zoning and architectural details. Did I use overlay zoning wrong?
It's not an overlay zone, it is
Yeah.
superseding zoning. This creates the new zoning ordinance for those three sites
Yeah.
to effectuate the housing set forth in the housing element and fair share plan and the settlement agreements.
Yeah. So by passing these, the council gets to dictate the elements of the redevelopment plans.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Not yet the agreement.
And just also, just confirm, we are not naming, the approval of these ordinances does not name a redeveloper.
Thank you for that. Yes, yes. So did we get a second yet? I'm sorry.
Yes.
I think you opened it for public comment, but you have not yet.
Okay, I'm sorry. So we're going to go back to opening for public comment.
Correct.
Would anyone like to speak to ordinance 2026-6? Okay, seeing none, motion to close public comment.
Motion to close?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and if I'm correct, at this time, we'll ask for a roll call for approval.
A motion and a roll call, yes.
Motion?
Motion.
We'll need a motion first?
Yes.
Yeah.
I got the motion.
Yeah, we
I
did the
did
motion.
that
Oh, you did the motion
already.
before the public, I apologize.
We'll get there.
Ms. Santamore?
Yes, and I'm glad we've started looking at part 5.
Yeah.
Mr. Cox?
Yes, with a strong look at the agreements as we go forward with this law especially.
Ms. Mill?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Voorhees?
Aye.
Mayor Sizzle?
Aye. This ordinance has been adopted. And Councilman Cox, I agree. But I think we all agree wholeheartedly, and thank you for the comment, that the agreement is a critical piece to making these projects work. I'll now entertain a motion on ordinance 2026-7.
I move that council adopt on second reading ordinance 2026-7, adopting a redevelopment plan for the non-condemnation redevelopment area consisting of block 302, lots 14, 26, 27, and 49. And I think this one's Trollender.
I had that one
Right?
right.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. The planning board.
It's that Rick's that always gets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, second, I'm sorry.
Second?
Okay. The planning board determined that this site, Trollinger Key, qualifies as a non-condemnation redevelopment or rehabilitation area. Council wishes to adopt a redevelopment plan for this property. I will now open this ordinance up for public comment. Would anyone like to speak to ordinance 2026-7? Seeing none, motion to close.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call for adoption.
Ms. Santamore?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Mill?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Voorhees?
Aye.
Mayor
Oh,
Sizzle?
yes, sorry. No, we're up to. Yes.
Mayor Sizzle?
Oh, yes, yes. So that ordinance has been adopted. Okay. I will now entertain a motion for ordinance 2026-8.
I move that council adopt on second reading ordinance 2026-8, adopting a redevelopment plan for the non-condemnation redevelopment area consisting of block 302, lots 28.02 and 39.03, and this is Stall Camp, right?
Yes. The planning board determined that this site, Stall Camp EFS, qualifies as a non-condemnation redevelopment or rehabilitation area. The council wishes to adopt a redevelopment plan for this property. May I have a second?
Yes.
Okay, so now I will open this ordinance for public comment. Would anyone like to speak to ordinance 2026-8? Seeing none, motion to close.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Dinsmore?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Ms. Milk?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Voorhees?
Aye.
Mayor Sizzle?
Aye. Okay, this ordinance is now adopted. Yes, okay. We are now going to move to consent agenda resolutions. I will ask to amend resolutions. I'm going to make this resolution 75. Okay. This will be resolution 75. Resolution adopting a temporary manager for the Township of Medford. And I'm sorry, Mr. McGuckin, what would be the proper procedure here?
Assume you would put the name in that you're proposing,
Yep.
and then there would be a vote on the resolution. And you should announce
Yep.
who that person is, so council's all aware and the public.
Okay. I am editing this resolution to Resolution 75, and I'm asking that this resolution appoints Chief Robert Dovey as acting manager for this period of time. Okay, so I need a second to.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
You should do a roll call. You should do a roll call on the
Roll call.
appointment.
This is to add it to the.
Oh, I'm sorry.
consent.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. So we have a
Still
second.
learning
and
your
all-
process.
Second and all in favor to add resolution 75 to the consent.
Yes.
I will now read the consent agenda resolutions. We will start with resolution 73, 2026, authorizing a contract with, forgive the name if I got it wrong, A.C. Schultes in the amount of $173,700 for the rehabilitation of well number 6. Resolution 74, 2026, amending the 2026 temporary budget, and resolution 75, 2026, resolution appointing a temporary manager for the Township of Medford. Any questions or comments on the consent agenda resolutions? Seeing none, roll call?
Any motion?
Oh, any motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Ms. Dinsmore?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Ms. Milk?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Voorhees?
Aye.
Mayor Sizzle?
Aye. And that will conclude our meeting. I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you.